It is the Indulgent Islander podcast, episode 11, to the dulcet sounds of one Jevin Daly. Tim Wood, Nick DeSimone, how are you this week, sir?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm a little bummed out today. Right before I went to bed last night, I heard about Val Kilmer. That was definitely a huge bummer. He was one of my favorites.
Absolutely. I mean, it just you name it, I mean, he's been in so many great roles, and of course we saw him in Top Gun Maverick right at the end. But I just seemed like he had leveled out, and then got pneumonia, and then that was it. It's too bad. Great actor of our time, for sure.
Really incredible. And I completely agree with you about the Top Gun Maverick cameo. That that was like right around my birthday is always right around, obviously, Memorial Day weekend, and that was the first time that I shared this. It was the first time that my wife and I had gone out to see a movie since like before COVID, and there was obviously a lot of buzz about how that you know theaters were struggling and everything like that, and just to see, like I said, even just for a couple of minutes, the two of them on screen, especially with the health challenges and things like that he's had, was pretty fitting. And I mean, I obviously was still caught off guard by it, but at least we got that sort of lasting image.
Absolutely. So, Asian foods this week, Nick. We got a lot on tap for this week. We got a great guest, the
Great.
incomparable Martin Lesh, coming up in a little bit.
Yeah.
Because when you texted me and you were like, Asian foods, we got to get Martin Lesh. I got Martin Lesh. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, if you've been on social media one bit and you follow Martin, you'll know why we had to get Martin on here. He just is an Asian food aficionado, both as a diner and as a chef, which we'll get into with him for sure. Um, Before we get into news and notes this week, I've been having you've been having some fun specifically. You've been having some fun with AI this week, trying to come up with some more graphics. You're trying to one up me on on the graphics department. You're trying to. Nick's been working with Chat GPT and a couple of the AI platforms, and has been working on some graphics for the show. Some better than others. Let's take a look and see what we got here. All right, so let's start here. Now, okay, you obviously asked for a beachy scene, a lighthouse, some a smorgasbord of food. I was blown away. I have no idea who the wrestlers are, but you obviously asked for a wrestling shirt.
Correct.
The spelling up top, the DSFU own is not gonna work for you, clearly. My name's a little easier to not for AI not to screw up, but
Yeah, seemingly the
that was a
more
valiant
requests
effort.
you have,
That was a valiant effort. I like the feel, like fun, light, bright, beachy. I love it. All right, let's see what else Nick came up
Seems
with.
like the more
Or
requests that you put in to make changes, that's when the spelling and things like that gets completely
yes,
screwed. But yeah, I kind of stumbled upon this. I was messing around with it like weeks and weeks ago, and then I was listening to one of the or watching one of the Barstool podcasts, and they talked about how ChatGPT specifically, like very recently, has gotten really pretty crazy with the images. So I started messing with that and Grok, and like I said, a couple of these options, and it's really kind of
you couldn't
mind
put
blowing.
in images. You and they were very specific before in terms of whether it was copyright or whatever it was. They were very anal
Yeah,
about what they would create for you, and
right.
they've obviously evolved a little bit. Still some work to do. This was
Yep.
getting close. This was getting close. Like Nick had sent me a version of this where he had eyes. It was a more defined wrestling look for him, and I looked pretty good, but I had some man boobs going on. So I asked him to it was it was like it wasn't even like it was ample. It was like this little bulge, like a I always call it like a Phil Mickelson bulge because
Right.
Mickelson before he got thin always had this man boob stuff going on. Oh, what's going on, Ronan?
This guy is all over the place today.
Cameo
Never a
by
dull
Nick's
moment in this
cat
place.
Ronan. Um, so Nick revised it, wanting to get the man boob out, but AI has a mind of its own, so it gave Nick the crazy eye, the no eyeball, and then me with the kind of the bulging eyeball coming out. That was a good one.
At one
Uh,
point, I
uh,
had a third hand that was I don't know where a third hand came from, and it was a hoot.
This one? Okay, listen. I I I like it. I it the your facial hair, that's very representative. The wrestling look. I like my guns. I like my guns. It does not look like me. It looks more like Kyle Brandt, but but I like my guns there. We're getting a little closer. Nick sent me one this morning that you know, uh I guess I have to get vain a little bit, and I pulled out the veto because I have lost like over 100 pounds. This was pre weight loss, I think, because it was probably the closest in terms of look and feel. We're not going to show it to you because I didn't pull it up, but um, yeah, I was a little too beefy in that one, but good work overall, man. Good work. Good work.
We're getting there.
I appreciate the effort. That was that is going to be a work in progress, but good stuff. Good stuff. It is amazing what AI can do, and some people are scared of it, some people are excited about it. We probably should have got into a little bit with Martin because uh,
Oh yeah,
Martin is
it's kind of our
really
thing.
been playing a lot with AI.
Yes.
Anyway, so breakfast last week. What'd you hear? What'd you hear from the listeners, the viewers?
Not a whole lot. I mean, there was definitely a lot of agreement with that top half a dozen or so choices that we had. As always, there's always a couple that we're missing, that we're going to hit later. Watusi was one that, although we might have, did we mention, there was a couple like that were not on there, but again, by design, because they're going to be coming up on, under other
Yes.
categories. But it's, uh, it's definitely a popular subject, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, we appreciate you as always, everybody watching and listening. Some great feedback overall.
I lost your audio, Tim.
As we've told you, you can get the podcast wherever you find your favorite podcast: iHeart, Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, Podbean among them. Huge thank you to all those who continue to push us to new heights on the listenership. We really appreciate y'all. And the one thing that I have heard repeatedly, Nick, over and over again, is just the appreciation for uh I guess the volume. I guess just the fact that we're mentioning so many. And you specifically, that has been your goal from the jump. Um, I'm wholeheartedly in agreement with it, but this has been you driving that bus in terms of just getting a lot of different restaurants in the show each week.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, I think we talked about this yesterday too. As I'm pulling together photos and things like that, and as we go through these exercises, it's just natural that other ones are going to come up and in conversations that you and I have on the side and things like that. So, it's just, and I'm not going to ever say, oh, well, we don't have time for that. If they've left an impression on us, in a positive way, they deserve to be mentioned. We might not spend as much time on some as we do on others, but we're going to mention again anything that we've had a positive experience with, and we've even mentioned a couple that we might not have tried yet. There's very few of these, but where there's sort of an overwhelming majority that comes out and says, you forgot about this, or you should add this to the list. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's quantity over quality, but quantity is not going to stop us from talking about quality, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better. All right, let's get into news and notes this week.
Your audio's out, Tim.
Let's get into news and notes this week. Brought to you by our good friend Anthony Mascolo, Anthony and cohomes.com, luxury real estate advisor serving Bluffton, Hilton Head, and the Lowcountry. 347-739-5984. Part of the Keller Williams Lowcountry family. Anthony Mascolo looking no AI needed there for Anthony. Looking dapper as always. Really appreciate his support throughout. Continue to hear from him in terms of the support. So huge thanks to Anthony. Anything to add on Anthony this week?
Not specifically. I will say that it's going to, it's April 2nd. Obviously, we're into April. Spring's already started. Spring has sprung, as they say. And I'm starting to hear a lot of positive news about a lot of, new inventory coming out. Anthony actually had another one went into contract in 7 days over in Margaritaville Latitude. But yeah, it's that we still need some more buyers, and hopefully the rates will cooperate with us on that. But yeah, I think it's going to be a busy spring, or at least maybe that's just me being optimistic. But it's certainly starting, from what I see and what I hear, it's certainly starting to look that way, and I'm sure Anthony would agree with that.
Nice. All right,
Yeah.
let's get into some news and notes. Where do you want to start, Nick?
I want to start with just something I stumbled upon last week. A friend of mine said, you should check out this little, I mean, it's classified on their Facebook page as a Mexican restaurant, but I would call it like a bakery. And I walked in there a couple of years ago after I had moved here, and I was just kind of like a little confused. I think it's because that particular day I was looking for like a handful of baked goods that I could bring to like a real estate office or something like that. And I just was kind of, I didn't know what I was looking at, and I just was kind of like in a little bit of a hurry. But like I said, a friend of mine mentioned that they had tried a couple of sandwiches at this spot. It's called Fresco OLe. fresh baked breads and deli. Actually, it does in their logo. And so we popped in the other day, and I mean, they just have an unbelievable amount of cakes and pastries and sweet breads and all this different kind of stuff. But what we focused on was their sandwiches, basically like I would say bolillo, if I'm saying that right, bolillo sandwiches, and
Okay.
man, they were pretty incredible. I mean, there's a couple different options, that they give you in terms of what you can include in there. There's something as simple as like a ham and cheese, which is probably what you see there. A couple of jalapenos in there, and then they have a combination where they do a chicken cutlet with ham and cheese, and then the lettuce, tomato. There you see the jalapeno, and whatever. It looks like there's some mayo on there. Definitely some avocado as well. Onion. This was a really delicious sandwich. Pressed sort of panini style, very reasonably priced. They got some really cool juices, a couple of smoothies. One of the patrons told me that the banana smoothie specifically was, in the that was his particular favorite out of the options that they had. So again, just one of these sort of sneaky places that not many people might know about, but I don't remember the crazy number that I heard, but the amount of people or the amount of tables or whatever that they run through every day at lunchtime was staggering. It was like in the hundreds, which I mean,
Wow.
I was surprised after I ate it. Yeah.
So you also actually right over now. Where is Panfresco Ole? That's
It's
over
actually right behind the
in
new
Market.
Radici Bluffton Pizza
Right.
Company, and
Yep.
there's a liquor store there in that strip, right? So
Yep.
it's right behind there. Yeah.
Coastal Car Wash and Market.
Yep.
That was leading me right into your next one, which we've talked about them, but they had their official opening this week. Um, Radici, you were on hand for it.
Yes. So I know we've spent a lot of time on this. This is big news in town. The opening of this brand new restaurant, Radici Italian Chop House. So I just wanted to give everybody a peek and just a brief recap of the soft opening that I was fortunate to attend this past week. Um, these ravioli, it was called Tuscan neck ragu ravioli. That's actually what I finished with. That's an appetizer portion. So it was 4 pieces, 4 ravioli. I think the entree portion is 6. Now I tried a couple different things. So I actually didn't end up going with any of the mains, but it was unbelievable. I started with the homemade baked focaccia with a little bit of olive oil. And then I wanted to, like I said, I wanted to try a couple different things. Right out of the gate, I did a combo of, because they explained it really well. It was called caciuco. It was the daily catch, which I believe at the time was halibut and sea bass, and it was with some clams and things, but it was in this dark brown broth that was just absolutely incredible. The flavor they put, apparently this they were preparing this over the course of 3 days. They were cooking this broth, and the flavor was just unbelievable. I mean, it wasn't a soup, but I wasn't going to let a drop of it go to waste. So fortunately I had a spoon and I was able to clean that up pretty well. But that, and it's called a caponette, which was sausage and cheese in a cabbage over potato foam with fried leeks. Those 2 appetizers were just incredible. And I tried a salad. It was a baby beetroot salad with daikon and walnuts. And again, I finished off with the ravioli. I got a shot of that someone's carpaccio there, which had a really nice presentation. I decided to save the carpaccio and the crudo apps for another time, because I was told that, I think Mattia himself told me that the sausage and cheese was his favorite, and then I had, as soon as I heard how long it took to prepare that broth on the caciuco, I had to try that. The restaurant was raving about this black taharin with butter emulsion, lemon zest, and caviar with white fish tartare. The whole dining room was buzzing about that. Um, I had something similar at their wine dinner a couple of weeks ago, so I passed on it. But I'm definitely going to go for that next time. And the spaghetti with clams with the chili oil, garlic, and parsley bread crumble just reminded me every time we used to go out as a family with my grandmother for birthdays and such. She would always order, linguine with clams or spaghetti with clams. So I definitely want to try, a couple of the pastas that I didn't get to. Again, any of them can be enjoyed as a main course for an additional $10, which that's that caciuco, Tim. Um, I mean, again,
Amazing.
there aren't enough superlatives to describe that broth, that slow simmered, seafood broth. It was just wild, almost like a fish stew, out of this world. Yeah, that's the prime ribeye with the balsamic vinegar glaze, corn ribs, and andouille smoked
You
sauce.
tried that on the you tried that before, uh, hadn't you, when you got a first sampling of it? I feel like I remember this.
Not this
No?
specific dip,
Okay.
something similar, but there was a guy that was sitting next to me. They call him Gov. He lives over on Defusky, and he's a regular at Chez George. So right before I headed out, I was there for quite a few hours, but right before I headed out, I took a quick photo of his prime ribeye. I mean, just the presentation. I mean, this obviously it's elevated. This is, you know, for a chef who's 26 years old, as incredibly talented as Mattia is, and of course John Domenico as well. They got Eric Golden in there, who's a very, very talented chef as well. It's just the stuff that's coming out of there. It looks amazing and it tastes amazing. We talk about experiences. I mean, this is going to shoot right to the top of the list of dining experiences in Bluffton. They're going to start doing lunch soon, and they'll start having some specials. I saw they got some soft shell crabs in yesterday, as a lot of the local restaurants did. And I
Oh,
was
yeah.
told that they were going to be going, I think as of today, they're going to be going with the daily catch is going to be a tile fish. I mean, look how beautiful
Wow.
that salad is. I don't really do beets and things, but I didn't want to do like a panzanella salad because of the toasted bread. I didn't want, the roasted bread. I didn't want to, get too full too early. And I'm not really big on fruit, so I decided to steer away from this green salad with the green apple and asparagus and whatnot. But what interested me about the root salad here was it had daikon in it, which you can't really find daikon very often. You'll find it at maybe an occasional sushi restaurant where they'll have it as part of their, um, sashimi platter or their chirashi bowl. It's kind of like, it's a bright yellow, as you can see there. It's kind of like a carrot, basically, but a little softer, but just has a very distinct taste. Whenever I see certain things like that on a menu, I'm always enticed to try it because, again, it's an ingredient that you don't commonly see on a lot of menus.
Nice, nice. So you had outstanding, soft opening. Did you go again on opening night?
No, I did not, but I heard a lot of great feedback through the weekend. It was a pretty full house. I think George mentioned that Saturday night that they might have been taking a few walk-ins, but for the most part, the dining room and the bar seats were sold out. And the bar seats are really cool because I mean, it's an open kitchen. You get to see everything that's going on in there, and it's a well-oiled machine. The bartenders are really good. Um, can't think of their names off the top of my head. I think one of them was Eric. Um, I believe the other one's actually Alex, if I remember correctly. So they were doing a really good job, and Camille obviously running the front of the house. There was a lot of compliments, and of course you're always going to have to work out a couple of kinks. You have a team that's brand new. You can train and things like that, but until you start, putting your feet to the fire, you're going to learn as you go, and that's why you have a soft opening, and that's why you have limited menu for the first couple of weeks, but they're up and running already. And I'm excited to go back and take my wife, and I'm excited to hear as more people are able to venture out and try it.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah,
Um,
congratulations
all
to
right,
them.
so next up, we want to hit on a new feature this week. Nick is calling it the Flavor Innovator. And what's the whole idea? I mean, it kind of speaks for itself, Nick. But what's the whole idea about just talking this up each week?
So I have a strong affinity for chefs and people in the food business that really they put a lot of time and effort into the creativity and into bringing new and different things to their customers. And social media helps a lot with that. I'll see a photo and I'll just immediately be captivated by what they're doing. And I was inspired by this segment by our friend Tyler Bodish at Tin and Tallow. My wife, as I mentioned, she runs the score program for the Outside Foundation. So they had a shell bagging over on the island last week, and she sent me a text, and I was planning on just having some lunch at home. She sent me a text and she said, "Do you want tin and tallow?" And I actually had to run out to broker open house for a couple of hours, so I wasn't going to be back until like later in the afternoon, and I just didn't want a tin and tallow burger or even a chicken sandwich to be sitting there waiting. So I said, "What are the egg rolls today?" And she texted me, "It's a Lowcountry boil." And I was like, "What?" So I said,
What?
"Yeah, do me a favor, grab me a couple of those Low Country boil egg rolls, because I can throw those in the toaster oven and warm them up when I get home." Listen, folks, I know we talk a lot about and have for the first 10, 11 episodes of this program about tin and tallow. I talk about places that I really like. And even though I haven't had a lot of tin and tallow over the last several weeks, I had this egg roll last week and I couldn't not talk about it. And that's how the idea of Flavor Innovator was born. Because if you can have the creativity and the initiative to create something like this that has, shrimp and sausage and potatoes and all the ingredients that you get in a low country boil in an egg roll format with this amazing aioli to dip it in. I mean, two egg rolls might not be an adequate lunch for some people. I was satisfied, I was satiated, and I was really just kind of blown away by, again, Tyler's creativity. So I think every week we're going to try to devote at least a couple of minutes to someone, or whether it's a restaurant or a food truck or a chef specifically, that's coming out with something that's just really impressive and really separates itself from you know, from the rest. And that's another thing I'll say. Hey, listen, you guys know we're not hard to find. You got something that you think is creative and you think people are going to like, let us know. We'll come, we'll pay for it, we'll eat it, and we're happy to talk about it. You know, if it accomplishes what you're hoping that it will accomplish. So that's this new segment, Flavor
The whole
Innovator,
idea, yeah, man.
born
The whole
from a
idea is
egg
just
roll.
every time every time you come with a new idea in terms of segments, it feels like the underlying goal is to get more names out there and to get more different tastes out there. And so, like Nick said, if you've got a dish, whether you're a chef or whether you're a diner, you've got a dish that you just absolutely love. We want to hear from you. We want to hear from you. We'll put it in the Flavor Innovator segment, and great way to start it with that. They called it a Low Country boil egg roll.
Yes, sir.
Wow, very nice,
Every
very
week,
nice.
Kid and Tallow has a new burger edition, and they have typically every week they have a different egg roll. So a lot of times people sleep on it because they just think of the burgers and the fries and the chicken sandwiches. But since day one, I've been drawn in by these egg rolls. Excuse me, whether it was buffalo chicken, banh mi, um, jalapeno popper. I mean, I could go on and on. It's just been really creative, and I have not had one yet that I think they did a chicken parm one time. I mean, it's an interesting way of enjoying handheld. I'm a big egg roll. We're getting into Chinese food today, so we're going to talk about some egg rolls and things like that. But I just love. I mean, I had a cheesesteak egg roll at of course, on the Rome's Bar over in Savannah that just kind of had a grand reopening very recently, and they were delicious. And that's actually what sent me there because I was at the Black Rabbit a couple weekends ago having lunch, and the bartender, I heard him talking about Rome's, and they had that grand reopening the night before, and he said I had to go over there to get some of those egg rolls. And a lot of times, I really like to get tips and suggestions from people that are in the restaurant business, specifically about other establishments. I'll ask a server, what's your favorite spot, or what have you been eating lately that you've been really enjoying? And it's kind of cool to get like a little bit of an inside track from the people that are in the business because there's a lot of mutual shared respect there, and they like to support each other. And when they enjoy something, they like to spread the word, which is what we're all about here.
Nice, nice. Okay, so and we finish up actually not finish up, but next item on the news and notes. Let's see
We'll
here.
be quick on these last couple. I just had to mention that I ordered. Oh, we got.
Hey, what's up?
I
Sorry about
had
that.
to, no, you're good. I just had to mention that the other night I was looking to do some takeout, more specifically delivery, and I remember you had
Grand opening
mentioning.
alert, right?
No, right before, but before we get to that,
Oh,
um,
okay.
you had a while back. You had told me that you were working with Pete over at SliderBar on some of their delivery services and things like that, and
Yeah,
they got
yeah.
on with DoorDash. So I ordered SliderBar DoorDash last week, and let me tell you, it had been a while, and I do want to go back and sit down there and try a couple more of the burgers. But I just wanted a couple of sliders and some fries, and I even went for some cheese curds. They were really good. I did two burgers. I did two chicken. One was buffalo. I think the other one was like a Korean barbecue. And then I did, one of the burgers that had mushrooms, and then the other one was like their standard sort of smash burger type of thing. If I am going to give him some feedback because when you go there, you can get like basically three sliders on a plate, and maybe like it's a side of fries. I had an abundance of fries because with the platform, sometimes it's a little tricky. So you order a slider, it doesn't say in the description that it comes with fries, and you end up with, I think I got four sliders or something
And
like
four
that.
sets of fries.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I threw in a Chicago dog as well. So I mean, there was an entire bag of fries, and don't get
Like
me
old
wrong, they're
school Five
delicious.
Guys, you know? Yeah.
Yes, that's why when you go to Five Guys, you got to know, even if you're
Not
sharing it with
anymore.
someone, just get a regular. Oh, really?
Not anymore. They got
Oh, no.
really stingy.
I remember they used to be like, if you just ordered a regular fry, they would
The
just fill the
bag.
bag with the
Yep.
fries.
Yep.
So that's good to know.
You
So
slipped
yeah,
that one in on me. Yeah, you slipped the slider bar in on me. Nice. They
yeah,
actually had a garlic butter burger special last week.
saw that.
That was, oh my goodness. I was just absolutely floored. I was so delicious. So good. So good.
They got some
Um,
great stuff going on over there, man. I just had
yeah,
to
they
give them a
just
quick shout out.
they keep going with it for sure. Spring's coming and they got a lot of cool things happening over there. So
I want to go back. I want to sit down and try a couple more of the burgers. And I want to try, one or two of his craft beers. They're doing some really cool cocktails and stuff like that over there too. So we're getting into that time of year where it's not super warm yet, where it's nice to be able to kind of sit outside and have a bite and have a couple of drinks over there, right
Some
between
people watching in the
SliderBar and
promenade.
local time. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right. So now do we go to the grand opening alert?
Yes, sir. This one was yes. Well,
Okay.
well played, my friend. It was
Yes,
worthy of the
I
horn
was working
because
on some graphics. They're not quite ready for prime time yet. So, but grand opening alert for sure. You headed over to New Riverside.
yeah, my wife had seen something about she sent it to me like a couple of weeks ago. It said Baguette and Boba, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't actually take a closer look because I was tied up with something at the time, so I didn't realize that by baguettes they essentially meant banh mi sandwiches.
Yeah.
Um, so my hand up, I didn't catch that one right away, but she said, why don't we just go over and pick up, I think it was Friday. Why don't we just go over and pick up these banh mi sandwiches and get a couple drinks? So we both enjoyed some of the fruit teas. She went with the mango. I went the tropical. The other one that's interesting is it was called a cheese foam Thai tea, and I was like, well, what is cheese foam? It was a nice treat, and I want to try, like, they have a smoothie. I was very curious, one that was called a dragon egg that apparently was made with lychee, that looked really good, and they had a ton of baked goods as well. I took Reese's peanut butter cup cheesecake to go. Yeah, there you see the banh mi sandwich. We went with the combo, and then we went with the pork, and then the other one was, I think it was a pate. Really nice,
Nice.
fresh ingredients. They got the pickled, pickled onions and carrots and things like that. This was a corn dog that was half mozzarella and half corn dog. It was weird because the mozzarella was all the way at the top of the corn dog, and then when you got like halfway down, that's where you got to the hot dog part. So that was a little
That's a
odd,
fun
but
combo, though.
yeah,
That's
definitely.
that's I would try that. That's something that's hard to pull off. That's not that's homemade because that's not food service stuff.
No, 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 no. And I don't know what the cheese was, but it was a very sort of chewy, like almost like a mozzarella consistency type cheese. Very flavorful. The taste was excellent.
And then you had let me see. Let me pull up this last one. Um, Here we go. That was your peanut butter?
Yeah, the peanut butter cheesecake. It was out of this world. I think Jocelyn had a strawberry shortcake that they had there as well. They had a bunch of cookies, and there was a desserts that I don't even know, that I'd never even heard of. So I got to get back there. They actually they're closed today. We're recording this on April 2nd. They actually had to close today for inventory restocking. So that just goes to show you how busy they've been in basically less than a week of being open. That they
That's
actually had to close
fantastic.
for today to restock their supplies. Yeah,
So
there was a line out the door.
it's right across from Eggs Up Grill
Yes.
on the side street. Um, the Beauty Vault is there and a couple other businesses. Um, it's next. It's saddled right up against the currently vacant spot where Olive and Fig was going. But it's interesting because I hear baguette and boba, and I'm thinking, okay, bread and tea. There's a lot more than that on that menu.
A
I was like,
lot more.
There's a lot going on there."
There was
That
even a
that
couple things that aren't available yet that they said coming soon.
Yeah, yeah. We poked in after breakfast the other morning, and we're just like, wow, there's a lot going on here. This is going to be very cool. So congratulations to T Baguette and Boba. That is in the villages at New Riverside, the village at New Riverside. Again, right off of 170 and May River Road. Again, next to across the street from Eggs Up. When I say across the street, it's like a little village, so it's not like you're crossing urban traffic or anything. So, but
Oh,
it's that's very cool, very cool. Congratulations to them. And then you tried some street food.
yeah, I know we don't do a lot of Savannah stuff, but I had been keeping an eye out for a while. I mentioned last week that I went to the Lone Wolf Lounge to enjoy the this traveling pop up for Strange Bird Float in the Coop since they had their fire at the Streamliner Diner location. I've been keeping an eye out for Two Birds Greek street food for a while. They have been essentially doing pop ups every Thursday to Saturday, I think even Sunday, maybe at Lone Wolf Lounge. And I'm big into Mediterranean food, specifically with the hero and the spanakopita,
Well
which I
done. I
one of my
can't even
favorites
go there.
say,
I
right?
can't
Yeah.
pronounce it.
I love me some tzatziki sauce. I love that fresh feta. So Jocelyn and I popped over there, stepped into Picker Joe's once again, which I found out they're going to be moving to a new location. So we're going to have to keep an eye out where they're going to be moving the antique shop. We actually got some ice cream floats as well afterwards. She went with what the heck was it? Cherry, lime, strawberry, and I went with orange and cream. But yeah, those heroes were honestly, I don't know that I've had a better hero. I would say Olive and Fig is definitely they're 1A and 1B if anything, but this was loaded, and one of them was hero. The other one was pork. What do they call it? Shawarma. And then
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and the co-owner. I'm not going to go searching for his name. I can't remember off the top of my head, but the co-owner said, "I'm going to make a suggestion." He said, "Do you want me to throw a little of the hero meat in there?" And so I said, "I mean, of course I'm going to go with your suggestion, dude." It was outstanding. We ate in the bar last week. This week it was kind of just wanted to sit outside. So 6B had closed, and we just grabbed a couple of benches and sat at their little outside bar there and enjoyed these heroes. The spanakopita ended up bringing it home and reheating it later. Biggest, most robust stuffed with spinach spanakopita I've ever had. This place is legit. So keep an eye out for them on Facebook and Instagram. Two Birds Greek Street Food. Great people, great food, and you know me, I'm a sucker for a good pop up.
Absolutely. All right, so that's news and notes for this week. We're talking Asian foods this week, and as we mentioned, uh, Nick hit me up, was like, "I think I got him." And I was like, "Oh wow, good pull. That is the perfect guest." Before we bring him in, want to tell you all about Lulu Kitchen, another one of our fine sponsors. It's an open table diner's choice 2024 pick and sure to be for 2025. It's your next favorite dining destination, folks. If you have not been there, and boy, if you have not, you are in for an amazing treat. It's upscale American cuisine helmed by acclaimed chef Scott Hastings and his wife Jennifer. Their spring menu has sprung. Come sample it. Join them for Easter on April 20th. Make your reservations now. For menus and to reserve online, lulukitchen-hhi.com, 890 William Hilton Parkway, Suite 1, 843-648-5858. We ate. We ate there. We eat there. We will eat there. It's definitely one of those favorites on a lot of different fronts for us.
Yeah, as I said last week, it's Lulu Kitchen season. you mentioned you got Easter coming up, then you got Mother's Day, then you got Father's Day. Those are obviously Sunday brunches, but as Tim said, you got a new spring menu. I just pulled up their Facebook page, and Monday they posted soft shell crab season is upon us. As we said, it's back starting tomorrow. So I mean, this means yesterday, April 1st, and this was not an April Fool's joke, folks. Soft shells galore at Lulu Kitchen. I'm looking at a photo, Tim, of a soft shell crab Benedict. We might have a leader in the clubhouse for Flavor Innovator for next week. But seriously,
Wow.
that, and they got a soft shell crab sandwich that just looks outstanding. So I'm gonna have to get over there. I might have to do a soft. I'm not the biggest soft shell crab connoisseur, but between this, the photo that I saw from Shea George about their fried um, soft shell, I heard a lot about Annie O's. Apparently, he's always the first one to get them. I saw that they already had a whole new shipment, so there must have been a lot of people hitting up Annie O's for the soft shells. So Lulu Kitchen, folks, get there. Get a soft shell crab sandwich, or get yourself some soft shell crab Benedict. It's just the photos just it looks amazing.
I'm the same as you. I'm not a huge soft shell guy on an ongoing basis, but I do respect when the season is upon us, and I'll always I'll always take a dip in the water right as the season comes. So I'll uh definitely putting that on my radar for sure. All right, so we've got our guest this week, which we've said this before, but we love doing these interviews. We do like to talk amongst the two of us, but uh, whenever we can bring in an expert to fill in fill in the gaps of expertise, we want to, and this one was real special for us. Um, has been uh, an innovator on the musical front, is one of the biggest foodies we both know. Um, let's bring in island legend Martin Lesh. We are so excited to have a very special guest this week, Nick.
Yes, super pumped about this one. The perfect person to have on a podcast where you're talking about Chinese food and Asian cuisine. 100%.
And we'll get into that in a second as we
Yes.
welcome in the world renowned musical artist, jazz what am I jazz maestro, um I island legend, so many titles. I don't even know where we couldn't even fit them all on the screen. Let's bring him in. Where'd he go? There he is.
There he is.
Hey
How are
guys,
you, sir?
good.
So, I guess best place to start is what's with you and Chinese food? Where did the passion for Chinese food begin?
Well, when I was young, I grew up mostly living in New York City, and I just got really into Chinese food. I would eat Chinese food all the time. My mother used to say, "What are you going to do? Eat Chinese food every day?" And I used to always say, "What do you think Chinese people do?" and so I
That's
just would
amazing.
eat. I just got really into it, and so did my family to some extent. But I was, pretty. It was pretty much all I wanted to eat, and over time I kind of expanded my knowledge of it and my palate of it, and then I went and lived in China for a while, in Hangzhou, China, which is maybe like 3 hours or an hour and a half on the high speed train, west of Shanghai.
Wow.
And I lived there doing a residency at a jazz club for about 3 months or so. And there I tried a lot of Chinese food that we didn't have in the States, and I realized how diverse the Chinese food was, and that there was a lot of things that we were missing here. And also, I I tried a lot of authentic Chinese flavors that weren't really in the United States. I noticed that now in the past, that was 15 years ago. So I noticed that in that past 15 years, a lot of those flavors and dishes have appeared in the United States. So you can find a lot of it now. You can't find all of it, but you can find a lot of it.
It's how it always works, right? I mean, palates expand, everybody's looking for the new best thing, so it it crosses the water and then spreads from the big cities down, and we're finally starting to see some of it down here in the Lowcountry for sure.
Yeah, even locally, it's. I mean, just ethnic food in general in the Low Country has really expanded, but definitely on the Asian side of it, it's there's a lot of growth, and been a lot of good additions.
Absolutely. And it's incredible, like, to think of what it was like. I've been coming down here since I was, give or take 10 years old. And I remember back in the day, we might go to that hibachi place that was right outside of Sea Pines, fun thing
Yeah,
for younger people. And that's,
Karama, is that it?
yeah, something like that. Yeah. So, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you, because, I know you're coming up off of one of your you just went back up to New York City like last
Uh,
week, right? Right.
yeah.
So, with all this experience that you have, specifically with that type of cuisine, and yes, it has changed tremendously. I wanted to first, I'd love to ask you, like, were you at all, or even, was it possible for you to get your Asian fix, or specifically your Chinese food fix, um, before we started to see these E-Tangs pop up? And then also, as a second part to that, you know, what is it that, because obviously, you and I have both become very fast fans of this, and friends of ours, and they've kind of grown like wildfire ever since, I went over to the original one in Savannah for the first time, and then we had the one in Hilton Head, and now there's the one in Okatee. So how did that sort of, fill the void, and what specifically about that quenched your thirst for this particular type of cuisine?
Well, I got when I was in China. There's certain cuisines I got really into. Of course, I got into dumplings, because Shanghai is famous for a lot of that sort of food. But I got really into Szechuan food. I just loved it. And so when I came back, it didn't exist here, at least locally. And there wasn't a huge Szechuan scene in New York City at the time. There is now. But I really just learned how to cook a lot of it myself. And so if you go back on like my Instagram, like 10 years and everything, you'll see I was constantly cooking that stuff and trying to perfect it and learning how to make chili oil and all sorts of things. And so I just got really into it. And the past couple of years, I've gotten really into trying to perfect dumplings. But it was, I just had to make it myself. And then I heard of E-Tang in Savannah. Some friends of mine, Jackson Evans and Maggie Evans over in Savannah, who I lived with in China, they told me, "Hey, this place opened and it's legitimate." So I went over there and I met the owner and I talked to him for a while. I told him, "You need to open one of these on Hilton Head. I swear to you." And it's like there's nothing good over there in this kind of cuisine, and you should open one. And it's funny that years later he did open one there, but. So I would go over to Savannah and I would eat there and I would, find all the Szechuan dishes. And then when they opened on Hilton Head, of course, I went the first day that they were open, and I try to go at least once a week, um, because I think it is, as far as Szechuan food, when they're not trying to make the Americanized sort of stuff,
Right.
they can really excel. They make some really good dishes. And when I came back from New York just this past time, I went on a real eating bender because I was up there alone. I went up there. I just realized I had a couple days off, and I went last minute.
It was
And I
all
went on a
Asian
real.
food, wasn't it? I felt
Yeah,
like I
that's
saw every day a different spot.
all I ate was Asian food, except I had some bad pizza. You know what I call it? I call it TikTok pizza. It's pizza places that are famous on TikTok, but it's not really good.
No.
Um, and
Right.
so,
And you don't
so I went.
expect that in New York, right? Because New York's pizza. But like, yeah, you can
Well, that's
get
the thing.
crappy
You can
pizza
go
in New
basically
York.
any. You can go basically any place, and they have really good pizza in New York. So then people try to make something really different, and they get it social media crew together, and they do their thing, and they blow it up, and there's a line out the door, but it's really not that good.
Nah.
So anyways, I did eat a ton of Chinese food up there, and there were some things I wanted to do that I hadn't done before, or I hadn't done in a while. One was rice rolls. I hadn't had rice rolls in a while, so I was obsessed with that while I was there. And the other was one of my friends brought me to a great Korean place that was super interesting, and I forget the name of it offhand, but it was excellent. And then I went to Mala Kitchen, which is over near Times Square, and that's kind of like a new, really Szechuan-y, spicy place. That was very good.
You really you introduced me. I think you introduced a lot of the Low Country to the hot pot spot on Burnt Church as well. A9. I mean, you were one of the early adopters for sure.
Yeah, I was like their second customer.
Yeah.
I was so excited for them. I gotta say
Was the door
that
even open yet technically, or did you just like knock and hey, what do you got?
kind of. I will say that they make very good hot pot. They make the best hot pot in the Low Country. There's not better hot pot in Savannah. There's not.
Really?
It's
Have
really
you been to
good.
Shoes yet in Savannah?
No, where is that?
I just had it yesterday. It's on Duren. Shoes
Uh-huh.
Shoes hot pot Korean barbecue. It's right
Okay.
as you come off of like 516 where you make the turn onto White Bluff.
Okay.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I was there doing like a clothes shop that I haven't done in like 25 years, and I was like famished, and I saw this like I always gravitate towards the new signs. So like if somebody's put the work into a logo and a cool looking sign, I'm like food's got to be okay. So it popped, and I went over there. I was like, and I hadn't even looked online yet. I was like, whoa. The kimchi stew was there's so many things that were just
Oh,
popped.
yeah.
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 I'm really excited about that place.
The one in Bluffton at A9. I have to say that I really only get one broth there, so I only get the Szechuan broth. I mean, I've tried others that people get and everything, but I'm just a Szechuan kind of person. I make
Yes,
hot
and for
pot
those,
a lot, and
Szechuan snob.
I mean, we used to joke around in China when somebody would order there's a non Szechuan broth that is like white and it kind of looks like milk. And we used to joke around if somebody ordered it, we'd say you're ruining the whole experience, and we'd like kind of give them a hard time if somebody ordered it. But
so I was going to ask, for those who aren't familiar with it, Szechuan's obviously it's a certain style that's very spicy, right?
yeah,
Because I know there's Szechuan, and then so what differentiates? I know there's Szechuan, and then Kung Pao is another category of spicy. How do they differ? What is it specifically about Szechuan that draws you to that particular type?
I mean, Kung Pao would be a Szechuan dish
Oh,
actually.
it is. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Okay,
I mean, they make it
Hunan.
differently all over.
That's what I was thinking of. Hunan was the other one, right?
Yeah, Hunan. But
Yeah.
Hunan is super spicy too.
Got it.
Cantonese might be a little less spicy. I mean, it depends on what the dishes are. Szechuan will have a lot of Szechuan peppercorns, and it's based around a chili oil, and there's anise and all sorts of stuff in it, and so it kind of like has a unique flavor. Um, I don't. I guess I like spicy food, so I kind of go for that. Although I don't mind sitting down and eating a full Cantonese meal, I love it. Basically all sorts of Chinese food I love, and I was just having a conversation today with somebody that's kind of a foodie person, and I was telling that they were asking me about Chinese noodles, and I was telling them that in China there were all these. I mean, there's a million noodle shops. You know, they're more popular than people. At least where in my experience in China, people eat noodles more than rice. Um, but there was a certain type of noodle that I used to love to go eat, and it was mostly. I mean, the expats called them Muslim noodles because they're mostly made by the Muslim like subculture in China, and you could tell because then the character would have the Muslim sign in it. Um, but they always did the hand pulled noodles, and they made them a certain way. And I used to eat that almost every day when I was over there because it was so good. And I mean, that was one of the best dishes I've ever had was out of those little Muslim noodle houses over there.
I
That's the
just
kind of thing I kind of miss in the U.S. is that there is a really broad, diverse like food range in China. Even more diverse than the United States, I think, even with all our influences from other countries. It just there's just so much different food, and even though that primarily it's one ethnic group, but there are breakdowns of different ethnic groups all over China, and they all have their own food and the ways as they prepare it.
yeah, I mean, we've got some places that are starting to tackle like specific things like poke bowls, or something like noodles, like nude, right? Nude, good, or
Good mood food. Although they seem
good
to have
mood food. Yeah,
transitioned to just the hibachi cruises now
yeah.
since Bad Biscuit moved in there.
But when it first came, that was a new sensation for a minute, and um, but yeah, we don't have the variety. So it seems like when that new taste comes on the scene, it is like um I don't know. It is the it place of the moment because it's like we're all just whether we've had it before or you've experienced it elsewhere and you're seeing trying to see how it stack up. It's like the it thing of the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I always I always recommend that if people want to eat Chinese around here, that of course the A9 is I think really good. I love hot pot, so I think it's really good, and I like the idea of it being a buffet and you can kind of pick and choose what you want.
Yeah.
Um, and they do have a lot of ingredients. So and not only that, their dumplings are good. Don't sleep on their dumplings over there. But the but of course, E-Tang is makes great stuff, and they've been expanding their menu, over the past like couple months, especially, and they have more dim sum, and they have some other dishes that they've been expanding into, and I haven't tried everything over there. There's certain dishes that when I go by there, I just have to have, so I just like it's like my comfort food, so I tend to order those a lot.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
you got
say, yeah, I was gonna
to.
say, are you more of a once you get locked in on something, or are you the type of guy that when you hit a new city when you're on tour, or that you got to find like the the hidden gem place, or do you have your places that you're like, I'm going to San Francisco. This is the spot down this alley, or do you just like to go out and explore?
Both. I mean, I have like my spots. Like in New York, I'll go around. Like this past time, I ate at all places I've never eaten at, except for the rice roll place. That's an old famous place in New York City. But I ate at all places I hadn't eaten at before because I was wanting to kind of like try a bunch of new places. But I have like Xi'an famous foods in New York is like a Xi'an noodle house, and it really doesn't get better than that. So no matter where I go, I'm always like, well, Xi'an only costs $10, and it's like one of the best things you could ever eat. So
It's the Taco Bell of the moment, but yet like five-star dining.
yeah, well, if you ever want to like really concentrate on cooking, like learning how to cook spicy Chinese food or Xi'an food or Szechuan food, um, Xi'an Famous Foods has a cookbook now that they came out.
Right.
They hit the recipes forever, and they're famous for like having like the best chili oil maybe in the world. And it was all hidden forever. And then they came out with the recipe book, and so you can follow a lot of the recipes. And then also, which brought my Chinese cooking up to a whole nother level when I read that book, because it is really informative. But also, they started selling their chili oil, and you can buy it online. And they're
Nice.
I remember you
Nice.
posting about that.
yeah, I swear to you, if you're sitting home and you cook a steak, you put that chili oil on it, man. It doesn't matter what you make. People that I've turned on to it, they use it on everything.
It's
So
versatile.
yeah, and I used to spend so much time making chili oil because it's such a like you have
I
to have
remember you
that
used to make your own. Yeah.
now I buy it's not expensive either, so I just buy their chili oil. I'm like I'm buying the best in the world, so why am I making it home? Every once in a while I'll make it still, but
I don't know why, just probably because of like your love of oils and just sauces. And I saw Mickey 17 recently with my son. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but there's a character in there, Tony Collette. They're colonizing Mars, and um they're and Toni Collette is an obsessed foodie, and like she's all about trying to like create new sauces. And I'm watching this movie and I just kept thinking of you. like this she's like a female Martin Lesh, just all about the oils and sauces.
well,
She was trying to create them for Martians, but
when you go over a chef's house and like they never have anything in their house, like the chefs like have like in their refrigerator is like Mountain Dew and some
yeah,
jelly and
some Arm&
um
Hammer baking soda. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes I would be over at the guest house like late at night back in the day. I'm not out as much late at night like that, but it'd be like 2 in the morning, and I'd pick a bunch of stupid condiments and ingredients out of their refrigerator and tell them to make a sauce. See what they make. It'd always
That's
be interesting.
awesome.
Sauce off.
Yeah.
Right. So listen, Martin, I know you got to get going soon. So before you roll out of here, for those people who maybe aren't into the spicier stuff, you mentioned the dumplings. For me, that's really, and I know your friend Matt Stock and a handful of other people, that the dumplings and the dim sum is really what their favorite thing is. For me, going to that original location on Oglethorpe and Savannah, that's the OG, obviously, with that diner style, and you got that older couple behind the bar, hand folding the soup dumplings. And like you
Yeah.
said, they have really added, they've added a lot of stuff to the menu, but specifically to that category, and that's always what draws me in. What are some of, like you mentioned, when you go to certain places, you got to play the hit, so you might not try as much new stuff. So bearing in mind how many different things that they've added, and I know sometimes that certain things they'll have it. I feel like I've been to one of them the last 2 or 3 times. They haven't had the beef bao, which is one of my favorites. Obviously, the more of a bulky, breadier bao. But what are some of the specifically the special dumplings, the soup dumplings, and dim sum type of stuff? What's at the top of the list for you for people to try at E-Tang, either location? I know there's some nuanced differences with the menus.
I mean, people love soup dumplings, but they're not really at the top of my list. I like them a lot and everything, but I like a lot of the bao stuff, especially roast pork.
Yes.
Like I think that a place that knows how to make really good roast pork that's definitely a good sign of a good Chinese restaurant.
And how do you like that one prepared? Do you like that? Is that the one? Because I know one of them was like a fluffier, lighter one where it was kind
Yeah,
of
they'll
like
have the
baked.
bun.
Like,
Usually it's in sometimes it will be in a bun, but they do like the thicker dumplings there of it too. Um, I I really like their. I mean, if they have it, is their pork and shrimp shumai. They'll do that
yes,
too. That's really good. Uh, I mean, as far as dumplings go, I just look at the flavors. If it's something that I eat, I usually try it because I mean, dumplings are some of the greatest food you could possibly eat. I spend that's like mainly what I make now when I'm making Chinese food. I make dumplings because I was trying to master how to make the best batter for a dumpling and everything. And actually, I will say this is that the people at Etang, and just like at Relish Cafe, Chef D, when he was over there, now he sold it since, and it's still a very good restaurant, by the way. But he used to show me a lot about how to make the batter and how to fold the dumplings a certain way, and they're very helpful whenever I ask about how to cook something and how to make something. As a matter of
That's one
fact,
of the.
at E-Tang, sometimes they'll give me some of the ingredients and say,
Oh, cool.
use this pickled vegetable thing to make the one of my favorite dishes there is the green beans, sauteed green beans, not with the
Yes.
eggplant, regular green beans. And they'll be
Right.
like, yeah, we pickled vegetable thing for it, and they'll give it to me. And yeah, they're really cool over there, and they know that I was a big supporter from day one. So
I think I might have to ask them a recipe for that garlic cucumber. I'm addicted to that stuff. I can't get enough of it.
I
That I
tell you
really
how to make
miss.
that.
Yeah.
I can tell you how to make
I,
that better than that.
all right. I'm gonna
Because
have to. I'm gonna have to hit you up for that. I
Nice.
definitely, it was sad to see Relish sell because I was a big fan. Most people didn't really know that was like sneaky the best Chinese food on Hilton Head. Did he move out of the area or just decided to kind of just get out of the business?
I think he's opening in Savannah. You know,
Oh, okay.
Was a super chef, and he was from Shanghai. And so
Yes.
if you caught him, if you caught him at the right time, he would make, like, at least for me, make a lot of special dishes. Or else he'd be like, "Hey, I made my grandmother's dumplings," and he'd be like, here's some of those. But he was a super nice guy, and he was really he helped me a lot with how to make chili oil. He showed me a lot about how to make chili oil. But
Right.
he worked like 20 hours a day,
Yeah.
and they were open like all day, and he was there every day. And I think I'm hoping that the place in Savannah, he gets some time so he can, like, kind of have time for himself. But a family took it over, I believe, and they are
Okay.
Thai, and so now it has a big Thai flavor to it. But every time I've eaten there, it was fantastic.
I've heard really good things about it. And I think they've retained a couple of things from the old menu too. Sorry, Tim.
They had like
No.
on and that.
Gotcha.
Martin, is it fair to say, in turn, just Asian, um, this ethnic type of food, that it's the best example of food is love in terms of just like, like you get an instant flavor of the culture, you get an instant sense of the culture by eating the food when you're in a new place.
That might be so. I don't know. You could say that with Italian food too,
I
because
right? Yeah.
Italian family. One of the reasons I love to cook, like if I have a day off, I will spend sometimes, a lot of times, my most relaxing thing I can do is spend the whole day cooking. And so, and it's kind of like whenever I cook, I always give some to friends. Like I'll call up some friends and say, "Hey, man, I made hot pot. I left you a bowl. You can come and get it." And so I don't know. It's kind of like I have two love languages with my wife. One is cooking, and then the other is sending her stupid TikTok videos. So, but those are really like my love. I love cooking, and it's relaxing to me, and it gets me away from, sitting at the piano all day, or going and having drinks or whatever. I can just sit at home and cook and just enjoy myself.
All right, you led me into, because just a couple real quick questions. You led me into one. You made a comment just about the TikTok pizza earlier. How uh how much have you used social media in terms of expanding your cooking horizons?
I mean, I guess a good deal. Like if I see somebody doing something a certain way, I might experiment with it. Uh, Usually, the tried and true methods are still pretty sound, and that's what I'm getting at with pizza. Like, uh, but it definitely, sometimes I'll go try a place. Like I'll try a place if I see something, a lot of social media on it. I just did that with Mama's Two in New York, and I had been to Mama's Two, that's a pizza place. I'd
Yep.
been there to the original one when they opened that, and I was like, "This is pretty good." And then it totally blew up and became this like huge thing. And so I went back to it, and I was just like, "Man, it's all right. It's good, but it's not." I mean, you could go to basically any pizza shop, and it's going to be really good in New York. I don't I don't know if it's worth waiting in line for Mama's Two, but
So the rabbit hole
you
is
guys should keep your eyes out though. There is a new pizza place that's going to come up on Hilton Head I expect is going to be very good because the person is been obsessed with pizza their whole life, and they've been cooking pizza their whole life, and I think they're going to have a fresh take on it that will be really kind of high end.
Can you drop
Not
a name, or
expensive,
is it too
not
soon?
high end, just high end as far as quality.
Can you drop a name, or is it too soon? Are they still in an exploratory?
Too soon? No, I mean it's coming, but it's too. I can't. I have no. I can't
I
drop.
can't wait. Because
It's
listen,
it's not the one that they were talking about. Hilton Head's only New York red sauce joint, because it sounds like that Lobster Bar is transitioning, or at least that's something that's going to feature. I saw something on social media. I can't
yeah,
remember what it was called, but it said Hilton Head's only New York red sauce joint. That's not what you're talking about. This is specifically a pizza concept, right? Got it.
It's a pizza concept, yeah, and it's just
Okay.
somebody that I know is obsessed with pizza and is a real foodie, and they're gonna. I expect that they're gonna do it really right and make something really interesting and good.
can't
Have to keep
wait.
an eye open for that.
Absolutely. I mean, we did our
Yeah.
pizza episode, and we've all got our spots, and I loved Mama G's while they were here, and they're still
That was
great
very good.
spots. But yeah, they're still great spots. But like anything new on the scene is always
Is there
anything
anything that compares to Mama G's, like as far as they do have that quality of crust and everything?
that I
Ralphie's.
yeah, Ralphie's has
Yeah.
really impressed us for
Yes.
sure.
Okay.
Ralphie's has impressed us. Sunset Pizza was really a kind of a shocking, not on a Mama G's level, but still like gave me a New York hominess, for my 15 years up there. Um,
I
I'm
thought
trying
Mama
not
G's
to be too much of a
was good
pizza
out of New
snob,
York.
What'd you say?
Yeah, I thought Mama G's was as good as most good pizza places in New York. It was really good. It's
Yeah,
a shame.
La Pizzeria across the street is really good too, or was. I haven't been there in a minute, but it like when they first opened it, they're New Yorkers, and that was fantastic. But yeah, Mama G's was about as because they just put so much into every detail,
Yeah, I mean,
to a
dough was.
fault, as it turns out. but 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 yeah, that was amazing. Um, in ter- One more question for me. Um, in terms of exotic ingredients, like yesterday, it reminded me a little bit of my time. I spent like 3 weeks in Seoul, and I had things I'd never ever had in my life, and I had cattle tripe at Shoes yesterday, which I'd never had, and not sure if I'll have it on a regular basis, but it wasn't awful. I mean, do
Was it
you have
was it
what'd
in
you
the
say?
hot pot or was it like fried?
It was in the hot pot. Yeah, it was like same thing as you were saying with A9. It's basically I'm not gonna say a buffet, but it's like start with the base. Now go to the meats. Now go to the
Yeah.
vegetables. And cattle tripe's one of the meats you can add in. You get like four things that you can add in among the meats and the exotic meats like the cattle tripe and the quail
They,
egg and yeah.
they
Um,
make they make a really good tripe like that where it's kind of fried and it's really spicy. It's with the hot peppers all over it. It's good.
where's that?
At Etang.
E-Tang.
At least
Okay.
I don't know if they do it here, but they did it. They did used to do it at the one in Savannah.
Do you have any real exotic things like to challenge yourself from time to time?
I mean, I eat a lot of that. Like I had pig brain in the
Wow.
hot pot in China. I ate eggs of strange birds.
Pig
I ate a lot
snout?
of over there. Um, but it's not something I don't like feel the need to like necessarily be like, okay, I'm gonna eat this liver so I can, I don't feel the need to do it, but I I do it sometimes. Yeah. I mean, I had mealworms and garlic sauce. That was very good.
Ooh.
But I'd say that I do it less now because one time I did get really sick, and I'm not sure if it was the pig brain or um, it was around that time. But I got really sick in China for a month, and I lost like 35 pounds, and
Goodness.
I, I had to make gigs every night.
Better than keto.
Bring me home.
Wow.
Yeah, that's when I went
Safe to
Martin.
crazy.
say it was safe to say it was the pig brain.
Yeah. Martin, have you
Could have
been to the
I think it
have
was
you been
these
to the
things
newest
I ate.
E-Tang? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think it was these. I had these noodles at like 3 a.m. on an abandoned street, and I ate them with my friend Maggie, and we both ate them, but I ate way more of it. And
Yeah.
the next, we went to go get massages. They have like the therapeutic massage in China is like really hard. Like you get internal bleeding kind of stuff from it.
Yes.
It's hard,
Oh
but
my God.
it's really good. But when they were doing the massage, I remember the guy saying to Maggie, "Boo how, boo how," and pointing at her stomach. And so we left, and I said, "What was he saying?" And she was saying, "He was saying no good, no good." And I would go, "Oh well, I don't know, maybe you're pregnant or something." And she just started laughing. She's like, "No, no, no." He was telling her that she was about to be very sick.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, and so we both got really, really sick. But mine
Too
lasted
little,
for.
too late. I was going to ask, have you been to the newer E-Tang yet out here in Okatee?
I haven't. I want to go. I the other day I thought about stopping there, but I went. I went to the taco truck instead.
Gotcha. Well, give us a shout if you're ever out this way. Tim and I live right across the road from each other, so we'd love to meet you and enjoy some
Yeah, that'd be great.
Szechuan and some dim sum.
Yeah.
All right, one last question before I let you go. Not food related. How we feeling about your Yankees?
I mean, they look good so far. It's just that, baseball's a long season.
It
I
is.
don't. I think that the bat thing will. You have to gauge it after 20 games or something to see if the bats are affecting it.
Right.
They're
People.
legal. They're not doing anything illegal.
No,
Torpedo
no.
bats were allowed. Other teams around the league are using them. It's just that
Yeah.
Aaron Judge and company seem to be using them better right
Well,
now.
Aaron Judge isn't using one though.
Right? Yeah, but
Yeah, he's.
everybody's pointing to him because he has
Everybody
4 home runs.
Yeah,
And
and so
and
Aaron
they're
Judge
they're able,
like change anything. He's like He goes, look at my results. I'm not going to change my bat. So he didn't
right.
change his bat. Yeah.
And they're able to get away with that because it's, I guess, that as long as the bat weighs the same or something, it's just about the
Yeah.
distribution of where the wood is on it. So
They're just
that's how it
shaving
still
it
falls into
differently. Yeah.
regulation. Okay, interesting.
They're taking a little bit off the top and basically putting it more into the barrel of the bat, the
Interesting.
middle of the bat.
This made me go and research all the things they do with bats, like not just throughout history of baseball, but
You and
in
Jeff
just
Passan, yeah.
past 25 years, people have done a lot with their bats. And they people order their bats like for just themselves. So there's counterweights. There's all sorts of things that people do. Not to make excuses. I understand that the rest of the league is going to be hating on it,
Well,
but you can't tell from 3 games.
They're gonna hate on the Yankees to begin with.
I
So
was just gonna say
anything else, yeah. I mean,
they'll grab onto anything to hate the
Are all you
Yankees.
guys
Although it's been a while since they won, so I don't know why everybody's so bitter about it. They should be finding a reason to hate the Red Sox,
are all you guys Yankees fans?
Mets.
so
Mets.
Long
I
suffering.
still love
I'm
Juan
born a
Soto. I'm
Red
thankful
Sox
for Juan
fan.
Soto.
But I worked for the Yankees from '96 to '98. So like, it's kind of hard to not. And so I'm a Yankees fan when they're not playing the Red Sox.
And the
Well, you guys
perfect way to
get DraftKings, and we can gamble against each other.
Nice. Okay. All right.
and I can tie it all together, Tim, just like one of our favorites, George Costanza. Martin likes his Kung Pao spicy, right?
Yeah. Thanks for
It's a
having me,
perfect
guys.
way.
Well done.
Close on that.
Martin Lesh at Lesh Band on the gram. Huge thank you for joining us here on the Indulgent Islander podcast.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
You
All right,
got
have
it.
a great day, man. Thanks, man.
That was so cool. Thank you for
Awesome.
making that happen. Thank you for making that happen. That was I mean, the wealth of knowledge, not just Lowcountry. The dude has traveled the world with his music, and everywhere he's gone, he has just absolutely crushed the Asian food scene.
The perfect person to have on to talk about Chinese food, Asian food. I didn't even know that he spent time living in China. That blew my mind. So much appreciated for him to take the time to come on. You know, he's a big supporter of obviously local restaurants in general. And
The
when he said
arts in the Lowcountry, yeah.
when he says, of course, arts. When he says and gets very involved with the town with a lot of different
Yes.
things like that, with funding and things like that. The I can't remember the fund that I was trying to think of, but he's not joking when he says he goes every week. As a matter of fact, not long after he wrapped up recording with us, he went to E-Tang and had lunch because he posted a picture and said, "No, I was inspired." So yeah, this we don't again we don't really talk much about food that we haven't enjoyed. When we say what we go there, we go. And I have a very short list of things that I haven't tried, and but you know, I mean, and as far as guests go, I mean, we've gotten really lucky. Of course, we got, you know, Mattia and John Domenico and Camila with Radici. We got Luis was talking with us about Mexican food, some great insight into that business behind the scenes. Martin, the perfect person to talk about Chinese food and Szechuan and dumplings and all that good stuff. So if you have anybody, you know, we usually give you a heads up on what we're going to be talking
Coming
about
up.
in upcoming episodes. If you have any suggestions or if you know anybody that would want to come on to talk about, you know, whatever category we're going to be covering, and it doesn't even have to be a category that we're going to be covering. You know, we can come up with something. Excuse me, if you have someone that wants to come on, whether it's to talk about their restaurant or their food truck or their private catering, um, or if they just have a friend or a family member, or just if it's something that, you know, I think you guys need to hear more from this person or that person. We're all ears. Just, you know, drop it in the comments or send us a DM and we'd be happy to entertain it.
I got Antonio coming up in the next couple weeks from AMA Private Dining, so we're excited about that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of, might as well get him in.
No audio, Tim.
I gotta fix these graphics. Okay, so we just mentioned AMA Private Dining. Antonio Mancini Albano, Private Chef Services, top-rated personalized chef services serving Beaufort County, Savannah, Charleston, and the surrounding areas. What you're seeing in the video, if you're watching us, you're seeing a couple examples of Antonio hard at work. And you can book Antonio now by going to amaprivatedining.com, 908-477-6043. AMA Private Dining. Nick, you've had quite a good experience with Mr. Antonio.
Absolutely. Both with a sit down dinner that he prepared at the May River Manor for the local serving locals spring fling event that I attended. And then also one of his, you know, delivery meals that we did for Valentine's Day. What I want to talk about just for a brief second, because he just announced it on Monday. He had been teasing something that he was coming out with. He started talking about it, I want to say a couple days to a week ago. And I was like, okay, well, you know, I'll bite. Well, I literally will bite because he's introducing the Low Country to panzerotti, which is his family's favorite Southern Italian street food. His wife was born and raised in the Puglia region of Italy, and these handheld treats, I don't know, for lack of a better word, are a way of life in this particular area. Crispy on the outside, warm and gooey on the inside. He says they're a little slice of heaven that's near and dear to our hearts and stomachs. These are not deep fried. They're gently shallow cooked in 100% organic extra virgin olive oil, making them rich, flavorful, and impossible to put down. Although I plan on using put down in a different context, I plan on putting down quite a few because they got three different things. Think of it almost as like a puffy empanada type of thing. They have the Classico, which is buffalo mozzarella, organic tomato sauce, and fresh oregano. They have a tartufo, crimini mushrooms, black truffle, and fontina cheese. And they have a mortazza, which is mortadella, pistachio pesto, ricotta mozzarella. The Classico's $8, the tartufo's $9, mortazza's $10, and you can order them individually. You can do a 6-pack mix and match and save $5. A 10-pack mix and match, save $10. You got to get your orders in by April 10th, and there will be pickup or delivery April 13th in Bluffton. He's also going to do delivery to Savannah, Hilton Head, Bluffton, and Beaufort. Aggressive. So
Wow.
go to their Facebook page. You can send them a message on their Facebook page, or you can text Antonio. I'm not going to dox him and read his phone number on the podcast, but go to the Facebook page and take a look. And if you're going to be around on April 13th to pick these up or arrange for a delivery, I could just tell from the photos. I mean, he does a pull apart on one of these. One of them, he's taking a bite, and these other two photos, he's doing a pull apart. I mean, it just looks incredible. It almost looks like if you crossed a Zeppeli with a a hot pocket, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's
Yes.
like maybe
I
like a Stromboli, but on a smaller scale. I'm thinking.
I was fortunate enough. I went on a Mediterranean cruise, um, probably 7 years ago, and we docked in Italy, and I had some panzerotti, and my goodness, I'm looking at the photos now as well. I cannot wait. That was one of those tastes that you have, and you're like, I've never had that before. When am I ever going to have that again? Like, so authentic. This was like just an absolute memory. I cannot wait to try this. Wow. That
I
looks.
may I cannot confirm nor deny. I may or may not be getting a taste of a Panzerotti or two next week sometime. And if I do,
uh,
I will certainly report back to you all.
uh, perhaps, perhaps hit me up so I can ride with you. Perhaps.
I
I'm
just
just saying.
might.
Okay. All right. So,
The
all
more
right.
the merrier.
So there you go. Uh, we're getting into the list now for this week. The Asian foods list. Nick, where do we start?
We're going to go hot out of the gate, something that I've eaten quite a bit. We've heard about it. I think we talked about it last week or the week before. Sorry, folks, I lose track of time. But we're going to start with what we discussed with Martin. So we won't spend a ton of time on it. But I mean, we say that this is not really in any specific order, and it's not, but very recently, or not even necessarily recently, over the past couple of years, I have talked a lot on my social media about E-Tang. Um, my experience with E-Tang, and we're going to talk about the newest location, which is in Okati, but I have to start, the journey started when I heard about it from my friend Garrett Leal with Remax Island Realty. He said, you got to try E-Tang in Savannah on Oglethorpe. And so one Saturday, Jocelyn and I took a ride out there. Very weird, sort of L-shaped building over there, a little bit of a shopping center. You go into the sort of the elbow of the right angle there, and there's a little hallway that you go into, and then there's another couple of doors or several doors inside. And I walked into this restaurant, and it's like very like sort of old school diner style. I see a Lazy Susan on one of the tables, and I see an older couple hand folding soup dumplings behind the bar. And I was just like, wow. And so I started trying some dumplings, egg rolls, soup dumplings. I tried this garlic cucumber salad, and I was like, wow, what is this? Immediately fell in love with Etang. I didn't know I was not familiar with the concept. And then, whatever it was, a year or two later, start hearing it's going to come to Hilton Head. I'm like, wow, this is great. Not that I mind driving over to Savannah, but obviously I'm over in Hilton Head quite a bit. Now I can go to the one in Hilton Head. And then this past year, obviously we start hearing about we're gonna get one in Okatee, where the old Asian fusion place used to be. And I was over the moon because for you and I, that's a 5-10 minute drive tops down 170.
Right down
And
the
I was
street.
like, yeah, right down the street. I was like, this is going to be a problem because I absolutely love Etang. The infatuated started with the soup dumplings. Soup, I love the hot and sour soup. The other dishes, my family and I went to celebrate a birthday a couple summers ago to the Hilton Head location before this one was open here in Okatee. We sat upstairs and we just ordered basically half the menu, and everybody was pleased with the way things turned out. Look at that beautiful plate of bok choy. I mean, bok choy with some hot Chinese red peppers mixed in. I mean, this place is incredible. The thing I love about the new location in Okatee is it's just a different vibe. It's very bright colors, neon. I posted a reel about it a week or two ago to give people a little bit of a tour around inside. They got they've been expanding their menu, and these are different owners. It's like it's a brand, but each location has different specific owners. I don't know if it's a franchise situation or whatever, but this one in Okatee has been having a revolving dim sum menu, so they've been mixing in some really creative dumplings and things like that. They have this the Peking duck, which Joss and I enjoyed one night, where they literally bring out a table to put on the table that has all of the duck all sliced up and ready to go. Um, the scallions or the green onions that you put in there, the little pancakes that they give you with that, the hoisin sauce, a really nice amount of hoisin sauce. The portions are large. The flavors are delicious. It's become a very popular spot because it's right outside that gate there in Sun City. So it's been a very popular spot for gatherings. Um, they've been very creative in terms of not just what they're offering, but they recently started with these lunch specials where for $12.95 you can get a dish, you can get fried rice, and you can get soup with that. And they're even doing small to mid-size events where you can customize a menu and things like that. Etang is it's at the very top of the list. There are some other Chinese food options in the area that will make this list and that I have enjoyed, but I mean that's the noodles with the chili oil, the don don noodles. I mean, it's top to bottom, chapter and verse. I have not had anything there. That garlic cucumber salad is probably my favorite appetizer, as silly as it sounds. It's garlic cucumber, as I just said, with essentially a vinaigrette. Martin did tell me that he'll tell me how to make it, which is scary. I don't think I'll make it as good as them. The one that I had a week or two ago with lunch was the most well seasoned, most delicious one that I've had. There you got some shrimp shumai. They bring it out in those little, wooden containers that they use for the soup dumplings to keep them nice and warm. They give you some that little bowl on the side for the sauce for the dumplings. There you see the hot and sour soup, which has always been one of my favorites. I could go on and on, Tim. I could talk about Etang all day. What's going to probably happen is I'm going to look at the Peking duck. I mean, are you kidding me? Look how crispy and delicious that duck looks. It wasn't fat at all, fatty, excuse me. But I know what's going to happen. I'm going to talk about this and other Chinese food for the next, half hour or so with you, and I'm going to end up wanting to go out and get some Chinese food tonight, whether I pick it up to bring it home or whether I eat it there. I mean, look at that. You got everything that you need there for, I think there was some cucumber. I think there was, like I said, some green onion, the hoisin sauce. We put away that whole that whole order of the Peking duck. It was incredible.
It really is a it's very different. The Okadi experience is very different. I mean, the food is just as spectacular, but the dine-in experience is definitely a little different in Okati in a good way.
Sure. Yes, it's just livelier, bright colored. The music, you get the fountain when you walk in the door. I can't say enough good things about this place. I could order pickup right now and it'll be ready in 20 minutes, and I could leave my house in 10 minutes, pick it up, come back, and have an amazing meal. Or, like I said, enjoy, just sit there and enjoy. I'm looking at things right now. I didn't even know that they had mushroom chicken. That was a big time go to when I was up in New Jersey from one of my favorite Chinese places, and or chicken with snow peas. I mean, they got vegetarian options. And again, when you go in there, look at that to your right. You'll see there's a black board that has like neon marker writing on it. It's like a lit up board. It's going to tell you what their dim sum specials are. They've been doing some truffle stuff. So I had one that was called pork with salted egg shumai. That was very interesting. Truffle pork soup dumplings. I mean, it's out. It's crazy. And I really suggest some of the dry fried dishes, some of the dry pot dishes. If you're into that type of stuff, again, you got to stop me because I could go on all day about Etang.
Great place to start, though. I mean,
Absolutely, absolutely. And shout out to Lorena over here in Okati. She's really working really hard to get the word out there as much as possible. I was over there, like I said, a week and a half ago or so, recording some content and helping with some social media things and whatnot. Go check them out, whether you want to do lunch or dinner, whether you want to do takeout. You won't be disappointed if you like Chinese food.
and it's interesting to hear them say that. To hear you say that they're trying to drum up interest and get the word out, because it's like you think of Etang and you think, okay, everybody knows this. Like you've got to know, if you have any interest in Asian food, you've got to know about Etang around here. Well, it's a new location, folks. So I mean, check it out. It's in that plaza with Jersey Mike's, the dry cleaning post office combo. Um, it's a special experience all on its own. So great way to start the list.
I think your audio cut out.
I'm back. Where are we going
We're back.
next, sir?
Let's go over to Baylor Drive, where the medical facility is, and the Publix. If you go to that Publix on Baylor Drive off of, I want to say, Buck Island Road, Tim,
Yes.
you go
This
to
is where the
the
Greek
Publix.
table used to be.
Exactly, you stole the words right out of my mouth. The far side of on the if you're facing Publix to the right side, VN Pho popped up. Again, I'm terrible with remembering how long ago things happened. I want to say probably between a year and 2 years ago. And I was immediately intrigued. I had a favorite spot in town where I lived in Hawthorne, New Jersey, that was Vietnamese, and I was a big fan of that. And Vien Pho, ever since it opened, I've enjoyed a couple of lunches there with my buddy James Paris, who's really into Asian food, specifically Vietnamese. The first time that we actually got together, we met at Saigon Cafe, and I really enjoyed it. Now, understand for quite some time that Saigon Cafe has not been run by Vietnamese specifically. I want to say that they're Chinese or something like that. And I've had pho that I've enjoyed at Saigon Cafe. But let me just, we talked about before, specific dishes that are kind of like burned into my brain that are my favorites that I just keep going back to. Vien Pho has absolutely delicious pho, and they have specials. I've done some noodle specials. I've done a couple of other things. Far and away, what keeps me coming back to Vien Pho, other than the pho and all the delicious sauces and things like that, It's called Vietnamese pizza. Back and again, where I'm from, or where I lived more recently since I moved here, was in Hawthorne, New Jersey. And I have to pull it up real quick because it's bothering me. TC's Little Taste of Saigon was the first place where I ever enjoyed a Vietnamese pizza or a happy pancake. I don't know how to describe it. There's chicken, there's shrimp, there's carrots, there's other vegetables, and it's basically, it's kind of like almost like an omelet in terms of the way that it looks, and it's got like a bright yellow, crispy sort of. It's basically like a crepe, and they put pork or I think it might actually be pork, but pork or chicken, shrimp, and you get like some sprouts in there, and like I said, some other vegetables, and I guess they use a rice batter apparently. So it's like a crispy Vietnamese pancake, and they give you like a very strong flavored sort of fish sauce type of tangy dipping sauce. Tim, this is one of my favorite Asian dishes of all. Again, you're going to go there primarily for the pho, but you're going to stay for a lot of these other things that they have, which they don't have a website. You're going to want to go to their Facebook page, and they've been posting almost on a daily basis photos of dishes, which I love when places do this so that you can get an idea of what the food looks like. And again, it's traditional Vietnamese food. If you've never had a happy pancake or a Vietnamese pizza, go and try it. Those are that's their version of a dumpling, which is actually very interesting. I'm glad you showed that. One time I ordered the dumplings and I thought that I was going to get like a traditional dumpling. Their dumplings are very odd. They're essentially, there is meat in them, but it's a tapioca sort of situation. And they
Yeah.
use those leaves to wrap it up, and you open up the leaf and it's sort of this like gelatinous. The texture is going to be off-putting to some people. The taste is there. The taste is good, but you got to sit there and you got to sort of untie and unwrap all of these little, leaves to get at it. Not your traditional dumpling, but they also have, spring rolls. They got the summer rolls with the rice paper, with the shrimp and things like that. So go check them out. Most of the dishes come with a little beautiful side with lettuce and tomato and cucumber and some carrots. You're going to want to enjoy the sauces. I like to typically, I'll sprinkle a little hoisin sauce into my pho, so maybe some sriracha. I'll sprinkle in some soy sauce sometimes. They also give you, like, when you get your pho, you get a whole side plate of all the accoutrement that you want to put in there. I want to say the basil, the jalapeno, the lime, the bean sprouts to add in there. When I order pho, I like to go with a combination. I do the meatball and the rare beef that basically gets cooked in the broth. I like to go beef balls, and like I said, that rare thin sliced beef that, I mean, even when you do takeout, they're sending you with that rare beef essentially in some plastic wrap. Obviously, you don't want to be keeping that sitting around for too long, but as soon as you get home, if the soup's not still hot, reheat it for a minute or two and drop in that rare beef. Look at that pancake. I mean, you can just tell by looking at it how savory and flavorful it is. And once you hit it with that sauce, it really pops. I don't know if it's a fish sauce. It's a clear, translucent um, dipping sauce, almost like a vinaigrette that's got like carrots and radishes and stuff mixed into it. It's incredible.
How do you get to all these places, Nick? And again, it's like you have this eidetic memory of all these places. It blows my mind how you're able to just pull it up on a dime.
Vienna, it's not in one of your like traditional locations that you're hitting up a lot, right? Like,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't know too many people that like that's their Publix. Like, if you live over in that part of town, I live over here. I'm going to
Used
May
to
River
be.
Publix, or I'm
Used to
going to
be.
Buckwalter, right? Or I'm going to Buckwalter to go to Publix over there occasionally, or Kroger if I want some different things like their cheeses and certain things that they have over there. Some more selections since it's a gigantic store, but there's not that much that's bringing you over there. I've had orthopedic appointments over in that building. I've had, I think, actually a couple of different orthopedic appointments. So if I'm over there and I don't have plans for lunch and I have a late morning, appointment over at the medical facility, I'm getting VN Pho for lunch. I also have, a couple of people that I'm friendly with, like I mentioned. James Paris is one. I've met him there a couple times. He's big into pho. Brendan from Shaken and Stirred, another big fan of pho. So I just, you can't eat lunches like this on a regular basis. But when I'm out and about and I have the opportunity that brings me over to that part of town, I'm definitely going to take advantage every chance I get to sit down, have a nice bowl of pho, have a Vietnamese pizza, and probably a spring roll or two as well. There you
What
see one of the
makes
noodle dishes.
the Vietnamese pizza stand out to you?
It's hard to put a finger. It's the texture. It's the texture of that pancake that they make. I'm seeing here rice flour, coconut milk, and turmeric. Um, I'm seeing, yeah, those are the primary ingredients: rice flour, water, and turmeric, or rice flour, coconut milk, and turmeric. And any time that you have, they call it banjeo, is the official name for it. So anytime that you have something like that, where you're telling me I'm getting a savory fried pancake that's going to be stuffed with pork, shrimp, green onion, mung beans, bean sprouts. I mean, I'm in, and I'm big into like
Yes,
dipping
please.
sauces and things like that. Yes. The dipping sauce apparently is called Nuoc Cham, sweet and sour garlic fish sauce. So I was right. And again, it's not going to be for everyone. This is a street food. And if you're not into, that fish sauce, you can certainly have it without it. But I think it just does it more justice when you have that dipping sauce to go with it. So again, I didn't even know what it was until I went to that spot that I mentioned back home, the TC's Little Taste of Saigon, and I said, "Oh, what's this happy pancake?" And then they got to a point where they didn't have it because they couldn't get one of the ingredients. I don't know what it was that they couldn't get their hands on, but they stopped making it. So then, for a while, until I moved down here, I hadn't really had it in a long time. And once I saw that VN Pho had it, I was like, "Well, this is going to be the beginning of a wonderful relationship."
Ronan alert, everybody. Ronan alert.
Yeah, he's waking up from his nap. He's been asleep in my arm this entire time.
Nice.
Yeah, which I'm
Off
lucky for that.
camera? Wow.
What's that?
Off camera. Wow. I didn't
Yeah,
even
right,
see him.
literally right below the camera. He's This is very abnormal. I mean, he's used to getting an afternoon nap, but usually when I'm trying to get something done is when he's terrorizing, and he's got a lot of things that he can mess with here in the office. So fortunately, he took the suggestion, or the behavior that I'm getting from Juno, where she just cut some Z's on the couch next to me. So she's being a good sister by setting an example for him.
Nice. All right, back to the list. Where are we headed next?
I want to go over to really my first experience when I moved here almost 4 years ago. Will be 4 years this week, actually, this Saturday. I was here. I was trying to find out where I could go to get some Chinese food and sit down and enjoy a nice Chinese food dinner. And my friend Jan Lucas, who's a home inspector, homegrown home inspection, said, "Go check out Akomeya," was one of the ones that he suggested. Now, Akomeya doesn't just have Chinese food. It says Akomeya Asian Bistro. Granted, E-Tang's also Asian bistro, but that's specifically Chinese. Akomeya is an Asian bistro that offers not just Chinese food, but they also have sushi and Japanese food. We're going to focus today on the Chinese food offerings. Um, as soon as I sat down there in the dining room where the bar is, it's just a really cool vibe inside, very sleek, modern, dark black and red colors. And I sat down and I got, typically what I usually get, I got some dumplings. I got some bang bang shrimp. I got, I'm big on the salad, the Connie salad with even though it's imitation, the crab meat, cucumber, and masago, with that spicy mayonnaise. Big fan of that. So I will say, if I'm ordering out to pick up, until the advent of E-Tang more recently, but I still sprinkle it in. I'll sprinkle in a trip to Akomeya. Sometimes I'll do a DoorDash. There's another place that I'm going to mention in a few minutes that's similar. That's in that sort of top 3 rotation of where I'm going to go to pick up Chinese food, or have it delivered in certain instances if I can. You're showing some of the sushi rolls, which again are also delicious. We're going to talk specifically about sushi next week on episode 12. So I'm going to get more into that. And then again, this crab salad, this Connie salad, that's a Japanese menu dish, but I have no problem mixing that in when I'm getting Chinese food at Akomeya, because that's just a salad where if it's on the menu of a Chinese or Japanese slash Chinese restaurant, I'm going to get it every single time. They don't have a tremendous amount of options in terms of their main dishes, but the cool thing is that each one of their main dishes, um, is, which comes with white rice. You can pay a couple bucks extra for fried rice. Each one of their dishes has the option of doing tofu, white meat chicken, or shrimp. So whether it's sesame chicken, General Tso's, Kung Pao, like we talked about with George Costanza with Martin, Mongolian beef, lychee pork was one that was really interesting. Mugu Gai Pan is another one that's one of my favorites. Pepper steak, sweet and sour chicken. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but any of these dishes can essentially be served with, either of those proteins. There's even a few of them, obviously, where beef is available. So I strongly recommend going with one of those main dishes. They do have a ramen with a tonkatsu ramen, which is interesting. They have lo mein. They have Singapore noodle, which is my favorite if I'm going for noodles. Very specific kind of noodle that's spicy with a very yellowish color to it. And the fried rice is also excellent. I'm big on the Yangzhou fried rice, which is chicken, beef, and shrimp. It's basically a combination fried rice. What are
Ooh.
your thoughts on Akamea, Tim?
I am a big fan. When you just said 4 years, like that blows me away that has been there for 4 years. To me, I still feel like it's grand open. Every time I go there, I feel like it's a grand opening. It's
Is
just
that around when the time that it opened?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I mean, it's so delicious. And I used to I'm kind of a snob. I used to love that there was a French restaurant there right before. Then old timers will know that spot as where Montana's was, which was kind of a sports bar, American sort of pub
Yeah, okay.
food place. But then when this came in, it's like a whole new taste in a whole in that part of town, which was craving for it, quite honestly. And man, it hits the spot every single time. What are we looking at here?
That's the appetizer. So you got the bang bang shrimp or the dynamite shrimp. You got the dumplings, and you got the egg rolls there. Yeah, the dynamite shrimp. That's that. So
Oh
those
man.
are typically those are typical. I mean, I don't always get the dynamite shrimp. One time I went there and it's very out of the ordinary to have to sit for a couple minutes and wait. But I think I might have sat there and enjoyed a quick order of dynamite shrimp because I might have actually called it in while I was on the road. I mean, they're very quick in terms of when you call it an order there. And it's really cool because sometimes you're in the mood for for something different. If I want Chinese food and Jocelyn wants, a sushi roll or something like that, I know I'm always doing callbacks to back in New Jersey, but there was a place right next to where we lived in Glen Rock, New Jersey, that was called Tawny, and it was very similar. You could get Chinese dishes and you could get sushi, and sometimes we would get a little of each depending on what we're in the mood for. I think you got some hot and sour soup there again.
Look at that!
Uh,
I'm mouth watering. I'm like just because you know a photo will bring back a memory and I remember the first time I had their hot and sour soup. I was just like, my goodness, it's just special. That's really the only way I say it. And it's they don't cheat you. And that's the common theme with all these restaurants we talk about. It's this perfect balance between uh, customer service and you know protecting their margins in terms of their dishes and just absolutely feeding you like a feast.
100%. They got poke bowls, which a lot of people might not know about. And again, we're going to talk about sushi next week, so I'm going to table this. There's that Connie salad again. I can't get enough of that. I could live on Connie salad. Um, so we'll save the sushi conversation because, spoiler alert, they're going to be on the sushi list as well, and I'll tell you why more next week. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, Akomeya is definitely top three. Like I said, whether I'm going to sit down and eat or whether I'm picking it up or if I'm a little too lazy or busy that particular day, I'm ordering it up on DoorDash. My whole family loves it, and again, I love when I can order Chinese food or Asian food in general and get in my car 5 minutes later and I pull up and that order is hot and ready to go. And I mean, listen, I'm guilty. I'll tell you, I overorder when I order Chinese food because I like
And
to eat it
that's a theme.
leftover a couple times. Yeah,
That's a theme. I mean, like your orders are epic, but like you and listen, you won me over when we brought this up in terms of your orders. Like you're not always going to get to the place. Right? This is a place that even when it's in your regular rotation, what does that mean? Okay, that might mean every month, right? That might mean every 6 weeks. You just life happens. You don't know what you're gonna be doing. So when you go you want to get your money's worth. Hey, listen, I respect your game.
the same theory that you just said, Tim, applies to the DoorDash. Like if I'm paying higher price per item and I'm paying to get the food delivered to me, I'm not shy about dropping $100 order because if I'm going to tip somebody, you know, 10, 15, sometimes $20, depending on how far they're coming, I want to get at least 2 to 3 meals out of it. And the same
Sure.
goes for the takeout. The only exception for that is and we haven't done this in a while, but if we happen to be going out of town within a few days, my wife has to always give me the disclaimer: don't over order this time because we won't be able to eat the leftovers. We're not going to be here. But that's
Yes.
also, I would say, probably 9 times out of 10 when we do return from a trip, or whether we're visiting family or whatnot, it's typically is the first thing that we'll eat when we come back home is we'll just order Chinese that first night and get it done like that. But yeah, Akamea is it's consistent and it belongs on this list.
The
Lock,
over
stock, and
orders
barrel.
is the over orders a smart play in a lot of different facets of life. If I go to an off-brand ATM where I know I'm paying fees, I'm getting as much as I can because I got to pay that fee. It's the same idea with the DoorDash, like you said, and the same idea in terms of now. Obviously, not everybody has that luxury to over order or whatever you want to call it. But if you can do it, it's like the old Ferris Bueller line. I mean, if you have the means. Uh, do it for sure. You won't.
Yes.
It's the smart play. All right. So what's where are we going next on the list?
Let's head back over to Buckwalter Parkway to another spot for some pho, which is Viet Kitchen. Viet Kitchen
And
opened.
listen, I might as well play this because it's really it's kind of a grand opening. I mean, they haven't been open that long.
A few months. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've stopped in there. I picked up shortly after they opened. They put together a perfect to go package. I enjoyed it. The pho was very good. I've gotten there a couple times. Like I said, when I'm bouncing around, I stopped in, enjoy a bowl of pho. Some, I think I probably had a couple of the egg rolls, which have shrimp, ground pork, carrot, mushroom, taro wrapped in wheat paper, served with lettuce and fish sauce. I like the spring rolls, like I mentioned before.
That's
The
just a
rice paper,
this just a beautiful um beautiful delivery, beautiful display,
100%.
beautiful
Super,
presentation.
yes, super fresh. Um, they have a wonton soup, which is pork and shrimp in a wonton wrapper. If you decide to go in a different direction, what that reminds me of is we talked with Martin about the previous owner of Relish. He used to do his grandmother's recipe of his wonton soup, and they were spectacular. This comes pretty close to that, and I would say, the full gamut of options for pho. You can get it with the rare eye round. You can get it well done brisket. You can get well done brisket and flank. You can get just the flank. You can get chicken. You can get the combination with the eye round steak, marble brisket, well done flank, tripe, tendon, and meatballs. Like we talked about with Martin, you got to be a little bit more adventurous for that. I know a lot of my fellow Italians love the trippa, but tripe's not for me. I just one look at it, and I just can't do it. But if you're into that stuff, it's got it all. They even have a shrimp noodle soup, and they got rice plates, they got noodle plates, they got a very big variety of the type of stuff that maybe you would have seen at Stir Crazy. Like they got quite a few stir fries. I mean, I'm scrolling through this thing, and it just keeps going and going in terms of the option. The one thing that they don't have is the Vietnamese pizza, the pancake. So I will go there and I will get some pho. And like I said, I'll have a couple egg rolls or a couple summer rolls. But if I'm feeling I want some of that Vietnamese pizza, unfortunately, I got to head over to, well, not unfortunately, but unfortunately for Viet Kitchen, in those instances, I got to head over to Viet Pho because I just love that appetizer so much. I got to stop talking about it. But yeah, this place, since it opened, it's very bright inside. It's kind of like if this makes sense, it's almost like a Vietnamese restaurant version of like a hacienda, just not as large and maybe not just as bright,
Yes.
vibrant colors. It's got that like sort of like dark, like marble, shiny floor, and they got a couple of screens
Huge
on the
windows
wall.
in front. Huge windows.
Yes, yes, it's a really
This was
nice setting.
Yeah, I mean this is in the plaza where the sports clips and the 9 round boxing and um it it was sitting there for a while and it's like all right I hear that I hear something's coming and then you heard Vietnamese food and it's like it took a while for it to get built out as a lot of things have as of late obviously but
Sure,
boy it's worth the wait.
100%.
Where to next on the list?
So, and people are probably going to make fun of me about this, and I probably said this a couple of times.
Screw
Remember
it,
when, as Tony
I'm with
Soprano
you.
said, remember when is the lowest form of conversation, as Tony Soprano once famously said. But I'm sorry, when we're talking about Chinese food, I can't help but think of the Americanized, as they call it, Chinese food that we all grew up. You always had that place in town with that big paper menu, right? With the numbers and the letters and the lunch specials and the dinner specials. And whether it was, growing up in Wyckoff, we had Wole in North Halden. We had another spot in Wyckoff. It's been such a long time, I can't remember the name. When I moved to Hawthorne, I had essentially King Wok was my, if you could call it a downtown in Hawthorne, New Jersey, on Diamond Bridge Ave, where there was a couple pizza shops and a pharmacy and things like that. Basically, all we had that you could think of as a being a downtown. That's where King Wok was. I could order King Wok and I could have it delivered, and it would be on my doorstep sometimes in 15 to 20 minutes. I mean, I didn't live far from there, but it would literally be from the time I hung up the phone to the time my doorbell rang, 15 to 20 minutes tops every single time. So again, to go back to Jan giving me some recommendations, because he's a chef in his own right. He's been in the restaurant business, and he is someone like myself that enjoys a lot of different food. He said Hong Kong is also very good, and so over in Buckwalter Place, you have Hong Kong. Now, I have to apologize for our audience. I don't have, and I looked through 4 or 5+ years of photos. I think at one point I might have taken a photo or two of what I was eating from Hong Kong. But listen, a lot of times that type of Chinese takeout doesn't particularly do it justice for photographs. I've never eaten in there. I don't even know if there is a table to sit. There might be one.
There's like two
Yeah.
tables to just basically wait while I've rarely, maybe before COVID, but I've
Yes.
rarely seen people eating in there.
100%. And listen, every time someone brings up Chinese food in one of these groups, someone comes out and says, there's no good Chinese food here, or where can I get Chinese food? And they'll say, New York. I'm sorry, but it's not the case. If you know food, if you know Chinese food, yeah, maybe some of these places aren't going to compare to some of the places that Martin talked about when he's going to New York City. Although he did say that a lot of the dishes at E-Tang are going to rival that stuff. For my money, if I want takeout, they don't deliver from Hong Kong. I don't think they do DoorDash or anything like that either. But to get in the car and take a 15-minute drive over to Buckwalter Place and pick up Chinese food, egg rolls, dumplings, hot and sour soup, and whatever it is that I'm going with, chicken and mushrooms. I usually try to hit all the major, meats and fishes. I'll do a shrimp fried rice. I'll do a chicken with mushrooms. I'll do, used to do like a beef on the stick. There's,
Chicken with broccoli.
yes, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm,
The chicken with
I'm not,
broccoli
yeah.
is the chicken with broccoli is just so delicious. The sauce on the chicken with broccoli combined with just the tenderness of the broccoli. Uh, eh, I'm a huge fan, and yeah, Hong Kong has definitely become our go-to, our family go-to in terms of just straight up Chinese takeout. When we used to live in Hidden Lakes, in the first tour of duty here, um, China Walk, where you mentioned where Vien Pho is, um, China Walk used to be the absolute go-to. And listen, they're still delicious, but um, Hong Kong is convenient for us, and I'm not just going, and I think you'd agree with this. I'm not just going for convenience. I will drive for good Chinese food. I don't care. I'm looking for the place that nails the food, nails the takeout experience in terms of keeping the food hot. If I have to drive, keeping the food well ventilated, because Chinese
That's
food can get
important too.
soggy. Yeah.
Yes, very, especially if it's something fried or something like that. I completely agree.
Yep. Yep. And Hong Kong does it. Hong Kong does it right for sure. So yeah,
Yes,
yeah. Screw the folks who are going to say, how do you put Hong Kong in with E-Tang and Akomeya and blah, blah. Well, listen, uh, I don't know. I don't know anybody who doesn't just do a straight up Chinese takeout spot from, you know, every couple weeks. And we're definitely in that mix. And we've tried them all. We have tried them all. I will continue to try new ones. There's a spot over near Sunset Pizza that that I have not tried yet that we want to try, but I will try them all, and I will challenge every single one of them none of them so far have stacked up to the consistency and deliciousness of Hong Kong.
I can tell you, and I'm glad that you did mention that place because I have tried. What was the name of it again? The one over by Sunset and Half Day
I,
Cafe?
China Express, maybe. I,
I
I,
think so.
I, I yeah. Let me look it up. I think it's China Express. Yes, China Express.
Okay. Yeah, I actually did venture out there. And again, it's hard because when you have these couple of places that we mentioned that are always so consistent, whether it's E-Tang, Akomeya, Hong Kong, obviously they're all unique and different in their own ways. It's hard to kind of think outside the box and try something different. Well, one day I did go over there, and it was because they had a specific dish. Um, and you might be able to help me out here, Tim. What is the dish that's basically where they incorporate eggs and then they give you like a brown gravy to go with it? You said it was China Express, right?
Yeah,
I want to say, is it egg foo young?
it's
Um,
egg and gravy essentially.
yeah, well, so that it's like basically like
Yeah, it's
chicken and or shrimp,
yeah, egg foo
shrimp,
young.
and it's almost like an omelet, right? And then they give you like a
Yep,
gravy with it.
egg foo
Yeah,
young. Yep,
that's not very common around here. So when you want something very specific like that, you got to
much more
find
common
a
up
place.
north.
Yes, yeah,
Much more common up north. I used to have egg foo young all the time up north.
it's probably like that. It's one of those more notably Americanized Chinese food dishes. Probably, I would guess.
Yep, yep.
Um, so yeah, I took it, and then listen, I got a couple other things, and I enjoyed it. I don't know if it was going to crack my rotation, but for that specific dish, and I want to give credit to, I think it was Tracy from Bluffton Catering. She does a lot of posting on her Instagram of things that she tries out. She'll go over to Savannah. She'll go to a lot of different places. She was at actually the one that gave me the heads up about the tile fish at Radici because she was there last night or the night before. So
And she
yeah,
mentioned that egg foo young.
yeah, a while back, I think she had picked up food from there and she mentioned it. There's another place she also likes to go to, the one sometimes in that same public shopping center where VN Pho is. I don't remember the
Okay,
name of that one, but I know she's
that's
posted a
China
couple of photos
Walk.
from over there as well. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
There you go.
and China
So
Walk. Could have very easily cracked this list, and I'm
yeah,
glad that we're
okay.
bringing them up because honestly, that was when we moved out of that area and it wasn't so what wasn't so convenient anymore. We would still go to China Walk, and then China Walk closed for a little bit around COVID, and so we were like, wait, oh, we got to find somewhere else. And plus, we moved, and that's when we discovered Hong Kong. It was like, okay, yeah, this is nailing it too. So, but yeah, China Walk to me one A in terms of experience. It's just Hong Kong closer and hasn't quite honestly hasn't given us a reason to go anywhere else. you know?
I've never been disappointed. It always gives me exactly what I want for that
Yep.
style
Yep.
of Chinese food.
All right, where to next on the list?
You want to talk about some Thai food?
Sir?
So the last time this is one on the list of places I'm trying to get back to. Whether I stop there for lunch or I go there for dinner with my parents. I have not been to Tile. Talking about tile fish, I got myself confused. If you get tangled up, just tango on. Um, Thai food, Thai Smile. I've not been there since they moved to the island. Obviously, Kenny B's took over their space at, technically Hilton Head, but, right across the street from that Moss Creek area where Odd Birds and like I said, Kenny B's are now, Bones Bar and Grill. Thai
Yep.
Smile is, for my opinion, Thai food in Bluffton, Hilton Head. This is the spot. And I'm really dying to get back there. I know they have a bar, at least maybe a more expansive bar than what they had at the old place. You got some soup there, which I want to say is the Tom Yum shrimp soup, spicy and sour lemongrass soup with galangal, red onions, kaffir leaves, crispy chili, tomatoes, mushrooms, and green onions. I need to look up a galangal. I love learning what these things are when I'm exploring these menus. Galangal is, it looks almost like a ginger type of plant. Probably gives it the amazing flavor that it has. Yeah, so if I'm going to Thai Smile, I'm keeping it simple. I'm going to share the spring roll app, some steamed dumplings. If it compels someone in the party that they are looking for some chicken satay or some crispy calamari, they're more than welcome. But I'm going to go straight to the noodle section. Once again, I'm not a big curry fan, so I'm going to go to noodles, and I'm going to, usually it's
You had
going to be a
52
50-50
last
shot.
night, dude.
What's that?
I'm sorry, I had to. Yeah, I said he had 52 last night. How are you not a Curry fan? I'm sorry, I had to do it.
um, the noodles, I'm usually going to be 50-50, one or the other. I'm going to go with the pad see with chicken or drunken noodle with chicken. My wife's a big pad thai fan, so she'll typically go with pad thai, a lot of times with specifically with tofu. But yeah, when I'm going to Thai Smile, I'm going one or the other. If I want something milder with the sweet soy sauce, I'm going pad see ew. If I want something a little bit more spicier, I'm going with the drunken noodle. I want to say what you're seeing there, Tim, is that the, it looks like pork to me. But and you know what? That might actually be the yeah, that's the calamari. So I apologize. I'm
I was
looking at
gonna
the
say it looks like calamari. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm looking at the menu here online, and it says with our signature sweet chili sour sauce. I think they forgot to put the for the photo on their website. I think they forgot to put the sweet chili sour sauce, because as you can see, it's tossed in it on that app, and that's what threw me off. That is a very good appetizer too. I'm glad that you mentioned that. And you also showed the garden roll. I mean, honestly, all of these apps are good. I haven't had the golden tofu. Every once in a while, I love some fried tofu. You can get that sometimes at some of these Chinese places too. But the steamed dumplings have minced chicken and shrimp. They top them with deep fried garlic and give you Thai dumpling sauce. And you got a beautiful pile there of the, I want to say that's the Thai fried rice. Eggs, minced garlic, mixed veggies, onions, topped with black peppers. That's very similar to the Young Zhao fried rice that I described from Akomeya. A lot of good seafood options at Thai Smile. I can't remember the name. Oh, it's Chef Kanlaya. I'm not even going to try to say this, but maybe I will. Oi Oi Kaisawad? Uychaisawad. She is a sweetheart and obviously a passion for Thai food. Started with her cooking and sharing food with neighbors and at her husband's workplace. She is a very sweet woman. I love the way that they run this place. And before I forget, if you're going to go to Thai Smile, you must not forget, if you want a little something sweet to finish off the meal, the mango with a soft and sweet sticky rice topped with coconut milk and sesame. Too legit to quit.
There's your chef. Yeah, let's just call her Chef KO. Like she knocks it out of the park. I'm not even touching that last name. I'm very impressed that you tried.
Let's just say Chef Kanlaya. Fair enough.
Okay, fair enough.
Now I want to stay on Thai for a quick minute. We mentioned with Martin that Relish has changed owners. So a lot of people, I used to say for a long time, the best Chinese food on Hilton Head you could find at Relish Cafe, and people would be like, "Really?" Because they looked at Relish and they were like,
Really?
"Well, what are we doing?" They got strawberry salad with blue cheese. They got brunch eggs Benedict, French toast and stuff like that. Like, what are you talking about with Chinese food? Well, they had dumplings, they had bang bang shrimp, they had spring rolls, and they had from open to close, they had an Asian menu. And there was only 6 items. I think it might have changed over time, but General Tso's, Kung Pao, Mongolian, sauteed eggplant, sweet and sour, and the green curry, which of course you could choose your protein for those. Shrimp, shrimp and scallops, chicken, beef, whatever. They had that Shanghai wonton soup that I mentioned. They had yaki udon, miso ramen, tonkatsu ramen, pad thai pho, and shoyu ramen. Now, a couple of months ago, a Thai family took over this restaurant, and Martin mentioned that the former chef, Chef D, I think he said from Relish, it may be opening a place over in Savannah. So that perked my ears up. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that. The new menu at Relish, it's called Relish Thai Cuisine, is very Thai centric. As Martin said, they
Yes.
did keep a couple of things from the prior menu. So you can still get some yaki udon. You can still get, pork dumplings. You can still get bang bang shrimp. So they kept some of the hits, which is really cool of them to do. But they got an assortment of stir fry dishes. They got island Thai specialties like red snapper, duck delight, long beef, Thai steak, Thai soy curry, pineapple fried rice, which is another one that I love when you're going to a Thai restaurant. So give them a shot. I have not gotten over there yet, and I'm busting myself about it because I've seen some photos of the stuff that's coming out of there. And again, it's just hard for me, even for a lunch, a lot of times to get down to the south end of the island. But I got to make time for Relish. This was a spot that I used to like to go to when the weather started to get a little chilly to get a nice bowl of ramen or something like that. Or we would meet my parents if we wanted to just get some Chinese food. I got to get back over to Relish Thai Cuisine to try it. So first of all, it looks beautiful, and
And
second
there's
of all,
like you said, there's gonna be folks that are like, remember what it was, and it's like, it's heavy Thai now. It's okay, yes, it's different, but it is every bit as special. Quite honestly, I mean, I had the Thai steak, I had the cow soy curry, both delicious. I think I tasted the General Tso's chicken, um, with the mate I was there with. No, it's delicious. It's delicious. It's not what you remember for the folks that used to go. We'll put that disclaimer, and it is what it is. It's not what you remember. That doesn't make it any less good.
100%. I can't wait. I'm drooling just looking at this thing. Sorry, Ronan, if I drooled on your head.
And they're very nice. I'll say that as
Are they?
well. Like very
That's good
welcoming,
to hear.
and listen, they know what they're up against. They're not stupid, and they were fans of the old Relish too. But they brought a different spin to it,
I love it, and I
and
love the homage by keeping some of the dishes.
yep, absolutely, absolutely. So they make your honorable mention list what's your last spot on honorable mention?
Sorry, but a little bit of a tickle in my throat there. So
Yep, yep.
the last spot, and we did that honorable mention for Relish because again, I just haven't gotten a chance to have it yet.
Yes.
But I wanted to talk about it because again, Relish previously was a place that was near and dear to me, and I look forward to continuing the tradition and continuing to be a loyal customer at the new spot. I know it's a chain, Tim, but I have to mention ever since it came to town, JINYA Ramen Bar on Hilton Head in the shopping center where the old what was it, the old Walmart or Sam's Club there?
Yep. Port Royal Plaza.
Matthews Drive. Yes, Port Royal Plaza. I mean, listen, I get it when people are going to say, it's a chain, you
Dude,
know,
dude, it's a
yeah,
chain. Come
yeah.
on.
People, a lot of times when they talk about ramen, they get into like depth of flavor and things like that. And I get it. If you're a connoisseur of ramen, JINYA might not be your place. I do just fine. They give you all these sauces and things to throw in there. You get to choose from just a plethora of ingredients that you want to add on to any of these ramen dishes, which are plentiful. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm looking at 12 here right off the bat. I love that they mix in um, specials and whatnot. That they'll do some different things that they'll incorporate. Honestly, even aside, Tim, from the ramen, and they're very good dumplings too. By the way, now that I'm seeing them come across the screen, JINYA has some really good fried chicken.
Really?
I might get some pushback on that, but and even like I tried something one time called corn tempura that was really nice. But yeah, the the crispy chicken at JINYA, you can get it in I think an order of 4 or 6 or something like that. I mean, they got some wild stuff. They got takoyaki, the octopus balls. They got they got JINYA bun. They got Brussels sprouts tempura. They got a garlic shrimp spring roll. Impossible gyoza. They got nikuman, which is a steamed meat bun, but that crispy chicken is spectacular. I love the little dipping sauce that they give it. It's almost like a sesame soy kind of situation, almost like a dumpling sauce, but a little bit sweeter. And it's hard for me to put a handle on exactly what that flavor is. Almost like a little bit of a sourness to it. I'm telling you, man, don't sleep on it. And they got some like sushi type of stuff too that's on there that's pretty interesting. But when I go there, it's pretty much always the same. I want the dumplings. I want the um, crispy chicken, and usually I'll mix in something like when I saw this corn tempura, I was like, "What the heck is that all about?" I had to try it. It was pretty tasty. It was almost like cream corn kind of like fritter type of thing. They got mini tacos, they got salads, they got rice bowls and curry. Chain or not, I don't care. If you want ramen and you want a variety of choices, you got to go there. They're doing a burrito ramen right now, I guess, is their seasonal special. That's wild. And they're also doing chicken salad with some of those what do they call, like the wonton crisps, I guess, to eat it on, which is kind of creative. And then they also have a Tokyo tonkatsu ramen, which is a pork broth with pork chashu, green onion, kikuragi, onion, seasoned egg, fish powder, served with thin noodles. But I have to apologize. I
Showing
should have
some of the
prepared before.
menu here
This actually
for
says
the new.
Canadian locations only. I might have to go to Canada to get this Tokyo tonkatsu, but I like this place a lot.
And honestly, like I guess I'm just of the mindset that good food is good food, and there's a reason that they've spread. Okay, I don't. I guess I'm just. I'm not saying everybody else is a snob about it, but I guess I just when it comes to chains and franchises, I'm like I'm not knocking them at all because like there's a reason they were able to franchise it. It's that good. It's that made that much of an impact on the scene that they can now franchise it. And this is the perfect example. I mean, they just nail it, and now because they've become so big, they're able to buy all their ingredients more in bulk and give you an even better experience, quite honestly. Look at that burrito ramen. I mean, it's delightful. I found a new toy this week where we can pull up a website widget where as an overlay here, so I can pull that up as you're talking and
I
go through
love
the
it.
website.
Really
Um,
cool.
yeah, it's I don't know. Do you guys? You're missing out if you just kind of give it that brush off of it's a chain. Oh, so good,
If an
so good.
area is clamoring for something, there was an April Fool's joke yesterday that Trader Joe's was coming to town.
Oh
Haha.
God.
If an area is clamoring for something, and you bring that solution, as they say, Jalen Rose, you got to give the people what they want. This area, Hilton Head specifically, was clamoring for a ramen place, and chain or not, JINYA filled that void, and there was a buzz going for quite a while. One of my favorite places to give my dad a shout and say, "What are you doing for lunch?" If he's up for a cheat meal, if you will, if you could call it a cheat meal at 75 years old. But it's one of my favorite spots. I'll even honestly, I won't let it stop me. If I can't get any company, I'll go there. I have a 2-step, sometimes 3-step in that little shopping center right there in that strip. I'll go and have lunch at JINYA. I'll enjoy the couple of things that I mentioned. I'll pop next door to the bubble tea place, which that did it close or no? I don't think so, right?
I don't think
There,
so.
there was something in between there that might have changed hands or something like, or there was going to be a Korean barbecue or something like that. Regardless, the last time that I was over there, I did the JINYA. I got some bubble tea, or it was actually it was the one that I got had like mango, these little strips of like tapioca, like gelatin or whatever in it, not the boba. And because I wanted a little something sweet, and then it's hard to avoid sometimes stopping over at Paris Baguette. Again, another chain, but
Hello.
anybody that's
Yeah.
ever walked into Paris Baguette knows what a problem that place is, from
Oh my
sweet to
goodness.
savory and everything in between. And if I don't get a drink at the tea place, I'm happy to get a nice chai or something like that at Paris Baguette. But they belonged in the conversation because, again, chain or not, where else are you going for that variety of ramen, in our neck of the woods?
And by the way, the salmon poke tacos, phenomenal, really good.
That's one of the few
Um,
things that I haven't tried, but it definitely looks tasty, and I might have to try it next
yeah.
time.
So there's your full list. There's your full list, but um, just like our favorite, just like our favorite go-to spots, never cheat us. Nick's never
Yeah.
gonna cheat you on a list and just the mentions. So we pivot to a new name. We tried lightning round, didn't quite work. So uh, we're pivoting to the hot potato round,
How do you
and
like that?
Nick played around with some AI, and so there's your hot potato. So where do we go first with hot potato?
I want to go and credit to my buddy Greg Knox up north for coming up with that idea. I think he actually, I was close on. I think I said innovator of flavor, just because my mind when I hear innovator immediately goes to Tommy Dreamer. That's the wrestling nerd in me. He said, "How about flavor innovator?" I said, "Great." We workshopped that one. Then I said, "Well, what do you think about this thing? We're going to go through a quick lightning round at the end." He goes, "Hot potato." He's great for that. I mean, this guy, met him in the mortgage business, and he's big into food like me. He's a big supporter and has really enjoyed the podcast. he's as witty as it gets. He likes following, a lot of comedians and comedy podcasts and stuff like that. So shout out to my buddy Knox for the hot potato idea.
Nice.
Let's just get through a couple quick ones
I
because I
was
know
gonna throw in a little wiggles with the hot potato, but that would, for the families out there, that may be the first thing that comes to mind, sadly, when you think hot potato, hot potato. But I was afraid that Facebook would hit me on the trademark, so we'll stay away from the wiggles. But where are you going first?
with all due respect, Tim, you might as well be speaking Chinese because I don't even know what the
I know.
I know what the Wiggles are, but I'm probably glad that I don't know what hot potato is from the Wiggles. But I know all these, the Wiggles and the now it's the Miss Rachel and I know a lot of these things from being Uncle Nick. It comes with the territory. You got to be,
Oh yeah.
in on all the different things that
The
they're
Wiggles
getting
kind of
into today.
Wiggles kind of fell out of fashion because there was some not so savory rumors around the Wiggles.
I do
But
remember that.
they're still legit.
Well done, well done. So hot potato. I know we're running really long this week, as best laid plans. We love talking about food and Chinese food. I told you guys, it's one of my favorites. So hot potato, we'll just run them through them real quick. We talked about Thai food. Here in Bluffton, I've definitely ordered and enjoyed quite a bit of Ruan Thai myself. Obviously, you have the original Ruan Thai in Hilton Head, which is now where the Popeyes used to be. Have not been in there since they went into that new space. Um, my buddy James Paris, as I mentioned a few times, he prefers the Hut. Had lunch with him there a couple of months ago, and again, I have enjoyed Ruan Thai Bluffton a number of times, whether it was dine in. One time it was a Greater Bluffton Chamber of Commerce event at K1. I said, let's hit some Ruan Thai after. Again, great for the noodle dishes and soups and things like that. And in the Main Street Village, that the Ruan Thai Hut is nice, cozy, and
Oh
comfortable.
yeah,
I would like to check out the original at some point just to see what they've done with that. Not that I ever went into the Popeyes before, but I would like to check it out one day to see what it looks like in there. And I expect, though, even though there's just some differences in ownership and different family members and things like that own these places, I would imagine that the fare is pretty consistent across.
for sure.
Let's go on to from Thai food. We're gonna do a couple quick stops, really quick ones. Again, I know we don't really do a lot of Savannah stuff, but I would be remiss. And we're talking about Chinese food, and we're talking about dumplings, and we're talking about Thai food, and all this kind of stuff. I have to mention two places in Savannah other than the original E-Tang. One of my absolute favorite experiences anywhere, forget about whether it's South Carolina or Georgia or New Jersey, whatever it is, wherever I've been, anywhere. I have not had as good of an experience eating Chinese food and an assortment of dumplings and dim sum and Chinese dishes that I've had at Flock to the Wok. Flock to the Wok is part of the Rhino Hospitality Group, formerly known as L and the Chef, ELE and the Chef. They rebranded last year, I think, as Rhino Hospitality Group. So just a quick run through, just so you know. And again, I celebrate the entire catalog of the Rhino Hospitality Group, but Flock to the Wok is the reigning and defending world heavyweight champion, and it's undisputed. They own Madame Butterfly, they own Arco Cocktail Lounge and Coastal Fair, more of a cocktail place than food place. They own Chive Sea Bar on Broughton. They own the Vault out in Starland on Bull Street. They own Coco and Moss. Haven't been to that one yet. That's a sushi concept. Little Duck Diner, great spot. Flying Monk Noodle Bar. We were talking about ramen. Have not been there yet. It's on the short list of Savannah spots. Peacock Lounge, which is a really cool bar, and of course, Flock to the Wok, Le Bon that has banh mi sandwiches, and Fire Street Food is another one that I have not been to out of this restaurant group. But Flock to the
Are
Wok
these your
is an out
photos?
of
Are
body
these your
experience.
photos, or were these their photos?
These are mine.
Wow. I mean, it's just like a couple of these, I was just like, if that's coming off your camera, like that, and this has got to be amazing. Look at that.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, Flock to the Wok is legit. This is not a big dining room, okay? It's a small little place on one of the side streets in Savannah, specifically Whitaker Street. And it's the same location as the Peacock Lounge, actually. And it's a small place, and the tables are not very big at all. Joss and I go there, and the table's covered because I have to get these chili oil dumplings, and I have to get the soup dumplings that you saw, and I have to get the regular dumplings, and I have to I literally end up ordering half the menu. Then I order one of the noodle dishes or one of the regular Chinese dishes to go. Again, another place that got great soups. They have Hong Kong style hot and sour soup with pork, tofu, bamboo, shiitake mushrooms, dry mushrooms, and scallions. They got shishito peppers that are amazing. Shumai soup dumplings, shiitake mushroom and tofu dumplings. I know I got to move on because this is the hot potato, but man, Flock to the Wok is the real deal. You can also get a crispy whole flounder or a steamed whole flounder, which is just absolutely incredible. Open kitchen concept. You can see what's going on there. Very lively, very busy. You might have to wait for a table. That's how popular this place is. We'll stay in Savannah
Where
for the
to
next
next?
stop.
Yeah.
PJ's Thai. If you love Thai food, you got to go to PJ's Thai. We talked about Thai Smile. We talked about the new Relish Thai Cuisine. PJ's Thai, it really takes it to another level. We had a really interesting experience the one time that we went there pretty recently. Again, this is another place. I do not think that PJ's Thai has a website, but you can find them on Facebook. Just do a quick Google search.
147 Abercorn Street.
Yes, sir. We had
So
this
is that
crazy.
more towards River Street?
Yes, PJ's is. I always pass it when I'm on my way back out of town, like when you're approaching the
To the
bridge. It's one of the
bridge.
last things
Yep.
that we pass when we're typically
Okay.
when we're doing our Doki Doki stop for some ice cream on the way home. But yeah, PJ's Thai is awesome. They have this crazy seafood soup thing that they serve in this large metal contraption. I apologize for not remembering exactly what it's called. It's kind of like a hot pot type of situation, but again, go check it out. It's like a 2 or 3 tiered metal contraption that holds the soup. Very unique, original flavors. I've been also wanting to try their new location that they opened about a year or two ago. That is a little bit nuanced, different. It's called KLOM, 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 KLOM Thai. Um, some different options and stuff like that over there. But if you're into Thai food and you like venturing out to Savannah, PJ's Thai is as authentic as it gets. Since we're talking hot pot, let's finish it off and give everybody a reprieve on the Asian food for this week. Um, hot pots, Martin mentioned A9, best hot pot you're going to find in the area. I couldn't agree more. I'm not an experienced hot pot veteran, but I did go with my buddy Stephen Page from Ascend Lending quite a while back after it opened. We sat down, we went and chose our items that we cooked in our hot pot. You choose your broth. They got a bunch of appetizer stuff that's buffet style that you can choose from. Really cool little place in that shopping center where the Planet Fitness is and the Dunkin' Donuts on the other corner. Nestled over right on the right side if you're looking at that from the intersection of Burnt Church Road and Bluffton Parkway. Very, very good. But you also just this
I
past
mean,
weekend, you were doing a little shopping spree, and you went over to Savannah to check
yeah.
out another hot pot.
And by the way, I'll just second, third, and fourth it on A9. It's like we mentioned in the interview, Martin really turned a lot of people onto it, and my goodness, the hot pot. You know, it's a very cool concept. It's a great dining experience, and I actually, yeah, like you said, Nick, I actually had a very interesting. I went clothes shopping for the first time in a very long time and ended up doing a marathon session to the point where I was absolutely famished on Monday. And coming out of town, we hit this I hit this place. I saw it coming off of White Bluff, um, turning right onto Duran. I saw across the street. It's called Shoes Hot Pot Korean BBQ, and it was amazing. Now, listen, it is a little bit of a it's going to be a little bit of a menu shock in terms of the price. They've got, especially if you get it to go or you get it online. They basic all they have is a hot pot for two for 44.99. Folks, when I tell you, like this was an experience I was not expecting. Like I said in the interview, it's like I saw the sign and I'm like a graphic nerd, so like I saw the sign, I was like, okay, well if they put that much time into the sign, it can't be that bad. So let me give it a try. Um, I I had to go back, and I had to go back into line and basically just ask them because I'm like I have not pulled this card yet. This was the first time I kind of pulled it. I didn't really pull it in terms of like give me give me free stuff, but I was like, listen, I do a food podcast and I'm gonna talk about this, so I really kind of want to try a couple other experiences here. They were really nice enough to let me. Usually it's a limit of, as you see on the screen, it's limit 5 items. You start with the base. They have 7 different bases. Incredible selection of meats, seafood, noodles. Um, yeah, this was, and again, like we're talking about Savannah restaurants more than we usually do, so we apologize for this, but like just the sheer variety. I'm not one who, I mean, I do like a good buffet, but I'm not one who likes too many options. Eh,
Right.
So this was kind of like it was kind of like the
A little
Cheesecake
overwhelming.
Factory. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was definitely overwhelming, but I mean, it's like it gives me more stuff to try next time. Like I said to Martin, I tried the cattle tripe. I was like, I would never do that other than when I was in South Korea, and it was amazing. The cuttlefish balls. Oh my gosh, it was. I would highly recommend it. And I hadn't even checked the reviews out before. I just it was an impulse buy, and it was so worth it. And again, when we talk about Savannah, we try to stay focused, right? We try to stay focused right here in the Low Country. Savannah is so close. Like we don't want to, we don't want to get outside our zone too much, but like it's so close to us, especially if you live on the 170 New Riverside side. It's so close. Uh, it's just honestly, it's just as close as going to Hilton Head sometimes. So
For us where
yeah,
we live, yeah, if you're going to the south end, a lot of times these trips into Savannah. Listen, I've been on the level. I go to Savannah a lot to eat, and we've said from the very beginning we have more than enough in Bluffton and Hilton Head and the surrounding area here to keep us busy. But when you're talking about specific categories of cuisine, and you're talking specifically about Chinese and Asian food, you can't not mention these places in Savannah, because if you're going to make a list and you're going to talk about the best places to go, for a lot of these things. Yeah, you don't have to travel far. You don't have to leave Bluffton. If you're in Hilton Head, you don't have to leave Hilton Head, and you don't have to go to Bluffton from Hilton Head or vice versa. But if you're really into this stuff and you like experiencing, different things when you're talking about, very specific types of cuisine like this, it's worth the trip. Whether you're coming from Bluffton or Hilton Head, it is 100% worth the trip to head over the bridge over the Talmadge into Savannah, because you're not going to be disappointed. I mean, these places, we didn't even mention, like, E-Tang has a new dim spot, some spot over there. I think that there's a ramen place over there now as well that opened up in Savannah. And guys, I apologize for being out of the picture here, but I got little guy still fast asleep on my arm. Sorry about that. Yeah, you just have to take the trip. If you're into this type of food, you have to go check it out, because you're going to be blown away. I mean, when I stumbled upon that Rhino hospitality group, I was like, oh man, like I had a list on my refrigerator. It's actually still up there from when we first got here. I had a list on my refrigerator, and it was 80%, at the time, Ellen the chef. But it was 80% that restaurant group, and it all. And again, the whole Etang experience for me, to bring it full circle to how we started. The whole Etang experience started with me at the Savannah location. Now I don't have to go all the way over there anymore. I do like to occasionally, but that's where it all began. And for someone like me who lived close to New York City, Martin talked about New York City,
Same.
and the like, yes, Savannah is not New York City, okay? But Savannah is, and I'm very happy because I also went to school in Boston. Very different vibe than New York City, obviously. Savannah, I've always said it's perfectly my speed, and the food scene. I'm not going to say I moved here because of the food scene in Savannah, but we used to come on vacation. Most recently, the last couple of years before we moved here, you know, Jocelyn and I would spend a night, or at least a night and a day and night, 24 to 36 hours in Savannah. So we started to explore there. So I'm not going to say I moved here for that, but the fact that I have this just unbelievable amount of amazing restaurants that are just over the river there, and because we hit our favorites, and we always get to try new places, and we have so many new restaurants that are popping up over here. But I mean, I think the last 3 Saturdays I've gone over to Savannah, and we've talked about it on the show, and I've tried all these different things, and I know I need to shut up, but I just, if you're into this type of food, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you don't go try it.
When I first moved down here, I moved down here in 2004 to be the GM of the Savannah Sand Gnats baseball team. And I absolutely loved the stadium. I am being fully, being 100, like I was not a fan of Savannah in general. Um, and because it had its nice parts, the squares, obviously, and I was specifically, I was kind of disappointed in the restaurant scene. And this is 2004. That you had your staples, and you had the Ladies and Sons, sort of tourist experience, and there was a handful of really good restaurants. I mean, 20 years is a lifetime in a restaurant scene, and where it's at now, it is really spectacular in terms of the restaurant scene, and in terms of the city. Honestly, there's been so much revitalization of some of the downtrodden neighborhoods. SCAD has just absolutely gone crazy in terms of the rehabilitation and renovations, and it's Savannah's if you wrote Savannah off a long time ago and like I don't need to go there. I got the T-shirt. I don't need to go there anymore. Go back. I mean, again, we're focused on the Low Country, but like it's right next door, so it might as well be the Low Country. They call it the Coastal Empire or whatever they branded it as, but it's so close for us that it really would be a shame not to go. So, yeah, I'll end it there as well. Um,
By the way, that
so
ramen place that I was thinking of is actually another E-Tang location. It's
okay,
Etang Noodle and Hot Pot. So now E-Tang is up to 3 locations in Savannah: the
wow,
original,
okay,
the dim sum, and the noodle and hot pot.
very nice. All right, so as
Yes,
we
sir.
as we wrap things up, we want to give a shout out to AMA Private Dining. As you see on the screen, book Antonio now at amaprivatedining.com and 908-477-6043. Also want to give a shout out to Anthony Mascolo, uh, Anthony and Co Homes.com, 347-739-4984, part of the Keller Williams Lowcountry Group. And then we had it up on the screen a few minutes ago, but please, folks, do yourself a favor, get out to Lulu Kitchen, 890 William Hilton Parkway, the old Fresh Market Plaza, William Hilton Parkway, Suite 1, 843-648-5858, Lulu Kitchen HHI.com for menus and to reserve online. Uh,
Your audio's off, bud.
Yeah, I was saying
Yeah,
YouTube. You know, you like to watch us. We like you to watch us. Watch us on YouTube, on your phones, your tablets, and your TV. I just, in terms of just the post game, I actually watched us on the 80 inch on the YouTube on the TV YouTube app, and it was a fantastic experience. So,
I did that
YouTube.com.
myself when I was driving through my YouTube shows. Same thing. Yeah,
Yeah,
comes out real
yeah.
nice.
YouTube.com/ the Indulgent Islander, and check them out there. Check out the Low Country Chronicle there as well on YouTube. You see the address there. Want to tell you
Your audio's out, bud.
graphics. I gotta keep them fixed. Want to tell you that the Indulgent Islander podcast is a production of Over Media Media. You want us to produce your podcast? Call or text 843-290-6242. That's me. Or email me at timmaywood, Timmay, Wood at gmail.com. Shout out.
Your audio's out.
Thank you again.
You're
Huge
welcome.
shout out to our viewers. We love what we do. We love that you're loving the podcast. Please keep the suggestions, uh keep your comments and your feedback coming. um just can't say enough about the loyal fans that have kind of flocked to us already, and we appreciate you so much. Much love to our wives, Jocelyn and Debbie, putting up with our obsession and all this silliness. It's really a pleasure. We love what we're doing. Next week, uh we're going sushi.
Yes, sir. We're going to keep it in that sort of Asian category. I just felt like you couldn't do sushi justice if you rolled it in. So we're going to do sushi, essentially Japanese specifically restaurants next week. So I'm looking forward to
And
that. If any of you sushi nuts out there, I'm pretty sure, if you're a Hilton Head Islander, it's going to be one of 2 spots. If you're out here in Bluffton, opens up a couple opportunities and even some fusion stuff, which we'll talk about. But if you have any suggestions for guests, or if there's anything that you would prefer that we talk about, um, I would welcome it. And
there's
as
the
we're
man
wrapping up here, oh, nice.
there's the man boob graphic. See,
Okay,
you see the little man boob line. I,
it's a little bit. I mean, you look at it this way: they
just a little
could be
bit.
pectoral muscles? You don't know.
They could. I've never had those, so that's probably why that's why it's so foreign to me. All right,
I
Nick.
also noticed real quick that Cinco Mexican Grill and Bar posted that tomorrow, April 3rd, as we record this on April 2nd, is National Burrito Day. So get out there and enjoy yourself a burrito from one of our many Mexican restaurant options, Cinco and Hacienda, just to name a couple. You probably also get a burrito at Santa Fe Cafe, Agave, Cactus Street Cantina, and the one that I've been dying to try, La Cabanita. So National Burrito Day, April 3rd.
Hey, I also wanted to just a couple quick shout outs. The Bluffton Youth Theater is having a fundraiser on the 5th, where it's with the Surge group. Um, they're having a fundraiser. Let me see if I can find this. I posted about it. Yeah, it's on April 5th. Um, why am I not seeing it now? Oh, that annoys me. Um, Let me look this. We also want to tell you there's a food truck festival coming up this weekend, um, with out in Port Royal. Um, so if you're a food truck guy, head out to um, Port Royal. I think 20 plus food trucks, some great entertainment. I think Campfire Tyler is going to be out there. Um, and then yeah, Surge is doing a $75 a plate fundraiser with Bluffton Youth Theater. Check that out. You'll get 2 tickets to the Beauty and the Beast show, and there'll be a great fundraiser to go along with that. So um that's all I got. I think we covered a lot, but that's all I got for this week. How about you? Any last words?
Food trucks. I should also announce we made this official yesterday. The Indulgent Islander is going to be collaborating with the Love Group of Realty One Group Lowcountry. It is called For the Love of Summer, pun intended. And that's going to be Saturday, June 21st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Martin Family Park. We got a bunch of food trucks. There are going to be some fun activities and stuff like that for the kids. So more on that as we come. And Tim and I are also working on some more events for this fall as well. So stay tuned.
Exciting times, exciting things happening. We're just we're thrilled. We're thrilled. We're excited to share this all with you. Yeah, okay, so the fundraiser, dinner and a show, one weekend, Saturday, April 5th, Sunday, April 6th, at their Bridge event venue, the Bluffton Youth Theater, um, over near Olive and Fig in the Moss Creek Plaza. Go to Bluffton Youth Theater .org for more information, but you're going to get a little taste of Nectar, a little taste of Frankie Bones, Skull Creek, Poseidon, some great desserts, a great show, great cause, huge fan of Bluffton Youth Theater. Um, and you'll get to see Beauty and the Beast Jr. being performed as well. So there's that.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Till next week, Tim Wood. Always appreciative. Nick, great job as always.
Likewise, brother.
Yeah, I was
Stay
waiting.
hungry. Stay hungry, my friends.